I still think Do You Want to Start Streaming is funny.
I know, it's so rude. Stupid streaming software. All right, here we go.
That's it?
We're doing it.
Ba 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 ba.
Ba 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 ba.
Ba 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 ba.
Ba 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 ba. Wait, we're not singing the words right. Doug Space Nine. Doug Space Nine. It's Doug Space Nine time. Ooh, I like that. Hello, we're live. Here we go. Doug Space Nine time.
Jesse left me some toys to play with. Oh, these are like your glasses.
Those are my blue blocker glasses.
Yeah.
That I don't use for anything, but they look really good on you. Hold on, let me get us bigger. I want to see. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
These are my streaming safety goggles.
Like rectangular goggles around circular glasses.
Yeah.
is a really good look.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are designed to like to use at night. You know, like on your phone, how it has that thing.
That's the red shift.
Yeah, like it blocks blue light to help you go to sleep better, I guess.
Right, because we know you're going to be scrolling through your phone.
Yeah, definitely.
4 in the morning with insomnia.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it's for, but I haven't used it in a while. I on Halloween, I was streaming on Twitch, and I wore those as part of a costume I was wearing, and it gave me such a headache that I haven't worn them since.
They do look cool, but yeah, I could see that driving you crazy.
Yeah, anyway, well, here we go. Doug Space Nine time. Are you ready? I'm ready.
I'm ready. Let's join the Doug Space 9 time continuum.
Today we're talking about progress and if wishes were horses. Are you ready? Are you excited?
Yeah, this is good.
Because it's a weird one. Miles, you gotta stop licking.
Yeah, this is a weird pair.
Here, you come here. Miles won't stop licking, so he gets to come sit with us.
Okay.
Say hello. Hello, Miles. Wait, I did that wrong. Okay, well, let's get started. Progress, Season 1, Episode 14. It's a bit of a piece of garbage.
Yeah, I did not...
Is it just me?
No, I did not like it.
No, it's not good.
And for this purpose of this show, and just in general for Star Trek stuff, I mean, I am on Memory Alpha, it feels like, every day, all day.
Me too.
But I usually don't go... I usually stop after the in-universe stuff, and I almost never do deep dives into the behind-the-scenes stuff. I've never been the kind of person that too much follows the behind-the-scenes stuff. Sometimes it's interesting, but it's really not, I'm more of someone who really just likes the thing itself, you know? This time I was like, I need some fucking context. I need to know what happened here, what was going on.
Yeah, what did you find out? Because I just did the Memory Alpha, and I was like, this is unsatisfactory, and the episode was also unsatisfactory, and I just walked away feeling unsatisfied. So what did you find?
Well, okay, let's do the summary of the episode.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's not do this backwards.
Yeah, so in this episode, the A story is that the Bajorans have a moon that a handful of people live on, and they're kicking those people off of the moon, and they're going to suck power or whatever, energy, out of the moon and shoot it over to Bajor. So they're basically going to turn this moon into a giant battery to help power their planet.
Hi, Amanda.
And then they're going to... so then the people that live there have to move. Right. And then there's just one grumpy asshole who's not going to move. He's like the dude from Up, like... Where
the dog?
Yeah.
Squirrel!
Douglas, that was his name.
Was it? Oh, that's right, it was Douglas.
Yeah, so he's basically saying, like, go ahead and kill me, but I'm not going to leave my stupid farm because of whatever. I'm a grumpy old man.
Right.
And that's what we do. And then the episode is... The A story is then centered around Kira and her relationship that she establishes with this guy, and then eventually is like, okay, now you gotta go. And then they take him away, and it's the end of the episode.
It's literally what happened.
Yeah.
It's just like, I can't leave, I'll die. And she's like, I won't let you, and beams him away, and that's it. Yeah. And it makes next to no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, because she couldn't convince him, and it's clear she can't convince him, so then she decides...
So she torches his fucking house. She burns his house down.
And she makes that choice, it seems, because... So the other thing is that... It's that I did think was kind of interesting is Kira, he kind of guilts Kira into like, hey, you fought against the Cardassians and they were like dicks to you.
Right.
And now you're being a dick to me.
And that makes you a Cardassian.
Basically, yeah.
Totally.
So
it's
then
weird logic.
She kind of like joins him and is like gonna live there for a couple of days and help him out.
She's like building this kiln thing that he's working on. How long does it take to put bricks on a kiln? Because they cut back to that like 3 times before saying, well, it's finally finished.
There we go. We set the little honeycomb.
And I'm gonna blow it up. Like, it's so
she
weird.
just phasers it. Like, but then I feel like it was her conversation with Cisco, because Cisco comes down and he's like, okay, this is nonsense. You gots to go. You can't be doing this. Or, you're throwing away your career.
Right.
If you're going to do this, then you're done with working for the Bajoran government and all that.
Right.
Do you really want to go all in on this thing? And it seems like that sort of shakes her out of it and is like, yeah, okay, this is a bad idea. And I feel like they were trying to establish the idea of like, oh, let's make the building of this kiln like a metaphor of some kind or some kind of thing, so then the completion of it can mean he can get his closure and he can move on. But as soon as it's done, he's like, all right, let's build something else now. And then she's like, all right, we're gonna phaser this and teleport you away. And then it's so unsatisfactory. It's they created an unsolvable problem and then didn't solve it. Which on one level, I feel like on one level that could be an interesting form of storytelling. So then it makes me wonder, is it the execution of it? Was it the execution of what I feel like could be a good premise? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, totally. I was thinking along the same lines. Hold on, I'm just checking this real quick. Okay.
For an episode that I didn't like, I felt like I really did try to, in my own mind, analyze, like, why did I not like this? And that was the one thing I came up with was, well, no, I do kind of like because I do like complicated, messy storytelling. I love Star Trek, but one of the things that Star Trek, I think, early Star Trek especially does is have relatively simplistic things. They create problems that seem intractable, but then they solve them through grit and determination and make them up science. And
or
then
like
move
convincing a computer to destroy itself.
Yeah.
I was thinking
what's 3 plus 1?
I was thinking that during this episode, it's like all of these premises are kind of interesting to me. You know, like the idea of Kira having this interesting father-daughter relationship with this guy that she just met, where they kind of fall into a relationship really quickly, and then she's like living there and tending him and by his bedside. I'm like, this is kind of interesting, given what we know about Kira. Or it would be interesting if they gave us any reasons why this is happening, or she talked at all about how she's feeling towards this guy, like he's a father figure, or if she talked at all about like her own father and her complicated relationship with him, or maybe her father was killed by Cardassians and like this is a way of getting him back somehow. There's so many ways how this could have been interesting. All these mute people that live there who just vanish halfway through the episode and never come back.
They teleport them away because when they do bring down the security the second time, a scuffle ensues, and then the Bajoran security is just like laser.
Totally.
Shoot this farmer. Well, because also they attacked him. That's right. They like hurt one of the security people, right? They stabbed him. They stabbed him.
Yeah, they stabbed him. Yeah, you have this situation where you have Bajorans fighting against Bajorans for wanting to live their own way of life and being forced not to for the good of the rest of Bajor, which is inherently interesting, but then just not developed. Like, they didn't develop any of their premises in this episode at all. Except for Nog and Jake, whose storyline is wonderful.
Once again,
the B plot,
the No J
Consortium.
Once again,
is awesome.
The No J Consortium saves a Deep Space Nine episode from just being a complete waste of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the B plot is great.
It's fun.
It's so fun. Like, Nog and Jake kind of stumbling their way into Prophet.
Yeah.
Like, the tingling in the lobes and Jake kind of getting on board with his friend's way of life.
Yeah.
And kind of that, like, cultural interchange that's happened between them, just allowing them to have fun as friends at this point. It's great. I love it.
So the B plot is that Rom apparently had ordered this is the first time they've mentioned it, the yamak sauce.
It was some like nameless Ferengi. It was like,
oh, I thought it was Rom. I thought he was talking about his brother like being useless, or
who was he in the beginning of the episode? He's like yelling at some guy when they're walking down the stairs. He's like, "You ordered this. How dare you?" But it was someone else.
I thought it was Rom.
Oh, okay.
In my head, I had it as Rom the whole time. But yes, so someone on his
dumb
staff,
Ferengi.
ordered 5,000 rapages of yamak sauce, which is Cardassian sauce,
pasta sauce. Yeah, basically
mayonnaise for Cardassians, or sriracha.
It's Vegemite for Cardassians.
And then, so now, of course, it's a Bajoran station, so they don't need the yamik sauce.
Yeah.
And Quark doesn't care. He's just like, this is a waste of time, let's get rid of it. But then, Nog, his lobes are tingling. He sees opportunity.
Yeah.
So then they want to sell it. They can't sell it. So then it turns into this exchange. Like, well, let's trade the yamik sauce for this, and let's trade this thing for this. And then, interestingly, it dovetails in at the end because the stories do cross over.
Yeah.
Because they're booting this old asshole off of the moon, and they need to give him land. And through this laddering exchange, the progress of their trade.
Sure.
The Noj, I keep getting
Noj, I think.
The Noj consortium winds up owning land on Bajor.
Right.
And so I think then it's like, oh, well, we're going to put this guy on that land.
Maybe?
I think.
I think that's kind of implied.
It's implied. We don't know explicitly.
I think that guy has nanites in his body where if he leaves this moon, he'll
die. Yeah.
Because he keeps, like, insisting that he'll die if he leaves this moon.
Yeah.
And they never, like, talk about that. I watched this with Andy, and she's just like, what does he mean by that? And I'm like, I don't know.
I took it to mean, like, spiritually, like, I will be a broken man.
Right.
You know,
It's the exact same plot as the Ensigns of Command from, like, season 2 or 3 of Next Generation, where Data goes to that planet and no one wants to leave.
Oh, and then he
the
like
Shellyak are
fucks
coming,
up their planet.
so he like fries their aqueducts. Yeah, with his phaser.
Which is like
it's the exact same plot.
Which is so weird. That I mean, not that we need to talk about TNG, but like that's a bold Data move. You know.
Yeah. That was one android with one phaser.
But that was back when Data
was it the Shellyak in that? I think it was.
Yeah, those are the people that were like. They just showed them with like lights behind them, and they were like, "We have a 1,000,000-page rule book, and we will not negotiate with you."
Totally.
And the solution to that one was Picard reading like, "No, it says here."
Right, reading the rule book.
Yeah.
And it like that episode is okay.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it, but except for Data's solution.
Doing it again now makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like doing that same plot again without expanding upon it makes no sense.
And that's just it.
And it's the same fucking solution. We'll burn his house down and walk away. Like, you can't live here anymore. Let me show you why I burned your house down. Let's leave.
Right.
Like, what is that?
Yeah. It feels less like where Data was just doing a giant violation of Starfleet principles on his own.
Yeah.
This felt a little more like, okay, this is... Kira is an acting agent of the Bajoran government who has told this guy that he's got to leave. They don't say it, but the implication is like, also, you don't own this land.
Right.
Like, you just came to this moon.
Right, you don't own this moon.
Right. So,
Mullibok.
Right, we can
is
just...
Is that his name, Mullibok?
Mullibok, I think so, yeah. So we can just make you leave. So...
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting question there of, like, this Bajoran wanting to live his way of life and being forced not to by his own people when they've been forced not to by Cardassians for decades.
That's also plays into what we're saying, is there's an interesting... There's the potential for an interesting story here that then just doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't happen. I mean, you even have, like you said, the Bajoran security guards fighting against these Bajoran peasants.
Right.
But it's not explored. It's not, like, talked about.
Yeah.
I guess a little bit with the whole idea of Kira now being on the other side. Like, Kira is now authority, and, like, she'd been fighting authority her whole life.
Yeah, and I do think they get further into that, into Kira's story later in Deep Space Nine. That feeling of, like, oh, now I'm a revolutionary who's part of a power, and there are still revolutionaries who are fighting against me as a representative of power. But this episode does not touch it.
Right, totally. And it should. Like, why doesn't it?
It should. It's right there.
It's really confusing. It's a very confusing episode to watch because it feels like it's going somewhere, and then it just doesn't.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, it's over.
Yeah. It's
what happened?
One of those just like, here's the solution.
Yeah.
That also is the solution that there was no reason you couldn't have done that out of the gate.
Right.
They could have just been like, we detect life there. Oh, let's beam them up and
let's just set their house on fire and leave. What's up, VGA player? Welcome.
Hello.
I feel like notifications didn't go out. I've been having massive issues with that since I've been sick. Like, if you don't go on YouTube all the time, it seems like they don't send out notifications when you go live.
Oh, they're like, hey, if you're not telling people stuff, then we're just going to tone things down for you.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. It's bizarre.
We have a thin feed today.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we're still going to have as much fun as almost as much fun as we would anyway. Yeah. Good to see you, VGA player.
Hello.
Did you guys get notifications that we were live? Because, yeah, I'm a little troubled. Mm-hmm. Usually when we have this few people in, it means that notifications did not work.
Oh.
I've had this happen a couple times where I went live and, like, I hear from like dozens of people later. It's like, you didn't tell me you were live. I didn't get a notification. I'm like, well, that's YouTube's fault. Sorry.
Can we push a notification through the?
I thought that I did by setting the thing.
Notification.
Boop, 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 beep, beep, beep. Yeah, by like setting the stream time, like I was telling you before. Like I thought that would fix the problem, but I don't think that worked.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I don't know how any of this
YouTube has been fucking with me recently. Like they took away the channel membership button.
Oh.
You can like if you click right here. Oh no, it's gone now. Holy fuck. Oh. Jesus Christ. What is their problem? Okay, it's here though. You can see it here, like join on YouTube Gaming.
Oh.
So the join button has disappeared from like more than half the places it was supposed to be.
Weird.
And they haven't told me anything about why.
I've told Jesse before that I may find out one day that this has all been a scam, that there aren't people watching it. This is just Jesse wants company to come over, so
this is my
elaborate
excuse.
setup. Yeah.
I was actually talking to Andy yesterday about how like podcasting was kind of this great excuse to invite people over to chat.
Yeah.
You know?
It's pretty good. It's a good one.
Yeah, this is much more expensive though.
It would be a lot for my company.
Yeah, I keep thinking maybe I should try Twitch, and YouTube keeps making it like harder to stay.
Yeah,
but I love YouTube. Like this is where I want to succeed.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
And I've had like a lot of success here, but then. Like, whenever I'm sick and I can't stream all the time, it's like starting over every time.
It seems weird if they make you, like, no, you've got to you're on a fucking streaming treadmill, and if you step off, then...
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really bizarre. I don't know if Twitch is like that, though. I mean, it could be like that. Anyway. Thank you guys for being here. Those of you that are here, you guys are awesome. Did anyone who's here, did anyone get notifications that we were going live? I haven't heard from anyone. That would be great to know.
Turns out that they're not even hearing this.
One time this happened, and I killed the stream and restarted, and like 15 people showed up immediately because like notifications went out. So, but I don't think we should do that. I think we should just keep going.
Tough it out.
Yeah. So.
Oh, so there's the gist of the two stories.
Yeah.
The thing that I had read was that the writer of the episode had intended for Mullabach, the old man farmer asshole, to be an unredemptive asshole.
Right.
He wanted that guy to be unliked and not a good guy and not someone who comes around at the end.
Right.
And he doesn't really come around at the end. They still force him out of there.
Right.
But then it sounds like the issue for them was that he came across as somewhat charming and likable. You know, and that does create an issue with it because it does change the nature of the relationship. Because Kira does seem to grow affection for him, even though the intention was that he's someone who's supposed to be,
He's like endlessly mean to her with a wink and a smile. In a way that's like kind of obvious that he likes her.
Yeah.
And that she likes him. Yeah, I did read that he was supposed to be unlikable. And that's even more interesting, like this mean authoritarian Bajoran acting horrible to Kira, claiming that she's acting horrible to him, and then she's got to kind of figure out what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
Because she's always on Bajor's side. She's always on the side of the people of Bajor, and it's interesting that she's put in a position where she has to like burn this guy's house down.
Because it is choosing between
to save his life.
One guy versus all the people that are going to benefit from the power.
Right. And it sounds like there was another plan that was slower that would work.
Yeah, but I forget.
Which I wish they hadn't mentioned because it kind of like confuses everything even further.
Yeah, why did they reject that plan? They throw it out there and then Cisco says something about it, and then I forget. Maybe it was just the time that it was going to take too long.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But yeah, they would the other option based on what they've established in the universe here would have been wait for this guy to die.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's just so unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a waste of time. Like it feels like there's no point to this story. Like why was this story told? I tried to figure it out. I tried to figure like what's the under like pinnings, like what's the what's the word that I'm trying to think of, like what's the themes, what's the what is this, like what is this, why does this
substance
exist? The substance is the word I'm trying to think. Like what is the substance of this episode? And I like still don't know. I think I know what they were trying to do, but none of it is there. None of it's in the episode, and it just like leaves you feeling empty and bored at the end.
Yeah, it's unsatisfactory, and again, except for the B story.
Right.
And it is another one of those where, okay, this is a Deep Space Nine story. You know, there is the elements of that this couldn't, even though we're saying it's essentially the same structure of the TNG episode, because of the Bajoran element and Kira going from the rebellion to the Authority, there are aspects of this that do make it like this is a Deep Space Nine story. Even the B story, to a degree, of like, oh, you're a hub of trade, and now these kids are engaged in that trade.
Yeah.
But just because it is a Deep Space Nine story, it doesn't do anything to further any of the larger themes or stories or characters in Deep Space Nine.
Right.
It's just kind of there.
And even as much as I like the B story, I feel like it's a little forced. Like when the kids overhear Quark and Odo talking about, you know, this No-J consortium,
right.
you know, and then realize that they have that opportunity, it's just kind of random chance that they discover what to do with the land. Miles, stop licking, you jerk. My dog's just like licking his hotspot.
It would be fun if it had been a serialized show, and then it was like, oh, these two kids own land on Bajor. That they
totally. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it feels like a little too lucky that they lucked into this prophet at the end, and we don't even get to see what the prophet is, and we don't get to see how it ties into the other story because it seems like it was supposed to somehow.
Right.
So even though I love the B story, and I really enjoy the B story, it still left me feeling a little bit like wanting at the end. Yeah,
the B story, I think it's good. I do like it, but I think we both feel that it's better than it perhaps is because of the contrast with the A story.
Because it's the only thing like worth seeing in the episode. Totally.
Yeah. Oh, it was just so painful.
And it's a weird one where like, because it was so bad, I don't really have that much to say about it. I'm like already running out of steam on this episod, which is weird. We usually talk for an hour per episode. We're like 20 minutes in.
You're like, oh.
I mean, is there anything else to talk about on this one, or should we rate it?
Well, I will say that, you know, this is again, I think bolsters my argument. Because now we're at like the halfway point. We're at about...
We're actually... Next week is the last two in season 1.
No, is it a short season?
It's a shorter season. It's like 18 or 19 episodes.
Okay, yeah. So this is more evidence to me that Deep Space Nine season 1,
or the week after. It's the week after. I'm sorry. There's two more. There's 4 more episodes.
4 more. Okay.
Yeah.
How Discovery has a pretty solid season compared to some of these dogs that we just
this episode is the only one so far of this season that was as bad as what Discovery offered in season 1. Maybe that other one that
what was the other one that you hated?
The Ennis and the Null Ennis episode was No,
there's an earlier one that we were both like, I feel like there's one that got like 3s from us. We'll check the chart.
Yeah, we'll check the chart.
Oh, the other
Science
thing,
and stuff.
The other thing that I thought, it's not fun, but this is the way my mind worked when I was watching, because I did 2 watches of this episode.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And no, it's kind of like, because I like to, you know, get my thoughts in order.
I couldn't.
That said, I didn't finish the second watch. I was like, oh, right, I get it. But what had occurred to me was like, oh, there's an interesting math problem to be had here where you can start to solve some things. So, like, 5,000 rapages of Yamek sauce is worth approximately 4 to 5 bars of gold press latinum.
Okay.
Which Quark threatens to take out of someone's paycheck.
Right.
I wrote it down because I was like, oh yeah,
that was insane.
Yeah, because you could reverse engineer. I wrote half of his paycheck every week for the next 6 years.
6 years. That's right.
So you would say that's 3 years of salary.
Wow.
Right? Because if it's half the check for 6 years. So full salary. So 3 years of salary is 5,000 rapages, which seems really...
So, like, 1 year is like a bar and a half of latinum?
I guess, right.
Well, I think that they work for tips.
Yeah, he's getting... Well, Andy's Ferengi, so he's probably getting paid real low.
Yeah.
Quark is going to be cheap.
Quark is, like, definitely going to be cheap.
They say 4 to 5 bars is a lot of... Like, that's said, like, that's a lot of latinum.
Yeah.
And then that same value, 5,000 rapages, is worth 14,000 self-sealing stem bolts.
Right.
So the 3 stem bolts is worth 1 rapage of Yamek sauce.
Okay.
And then all of this is worth 7 tetapates of land.
Gamer Guy just donated $1 in Super Chat. Oh, thank you, man, so much. I appreciate that.
Nice. See, I told you that if I did a deep dive into the cost of Yammic sauce Rapages, self-sealing stem bolts,
that got us
tessipates of Bajoran land.
Hey, what's up, Snapper? All right, it's like the notification just went out
They're
or something. I don't know what's happening. Welcome, dude. It's good to see you.
Yeah, and then 7 tessipates of land, which I couldn't find any reference to that.
Yeah.
So basically, like 3 years of salary
Right.
of low tip wages equals a certain amount of land, which feels like it's got to be a decent amount.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
So
quite
what I came
make
to is that
sense.
Yammic sauce is fucking expensive.
Yeah,
It must taste real good.
but only to Cardassians.
But only to Cardassians.
It doesn't quite make sense. I don't know. I feel like this episode is just like pretty badly written. You know,
What else
like
did
there are like huge holes in this plot.
Yeah.
That just they don't even try to fill.
Yes.
And then like the only thing that's interesting about the plot, they don't even try to develop.
Yes.
So like, what is this?
It just sits
episode?
there. Yeah, this is, again, I believe that it is false trek to skip episodes.
Right.
But if you were going to skip episodes.
This is one to skip.
Yeah. Although it is the first mention, I believe, of Yammic sauce, which they do, I think that...
And self-stealing
and-
symbols.
Right, those both come
They
back
both
as
come back,
in
yeah.
jokes, so...
I thought for a minute that this was the Great Material Continuum episode. I'm like, I thought that was like seasons later. I guess
Right.
it's now, but it's not. It's seasons later.
Oh,
but this is like kind of a prequel to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that stood out for me, and I've been thinking about this a little bit watching Z Space Nine, and this one really makes it clear. There's a weird thing about Ferengis in ears that I feel like the more I think about it, the more I get a little bit uncomfortable with it.
Like
'Cause,
what?
Well, it's very clear that they've sexualized ears.
Yeah. They
Right.
have sexual pleasure from people touching their
Yeah,
ears.
yeah, and it's beyond just like when you give a human like a massage.
No, it's like a hand job.
Or like an over the clothes hand job, maybe at the very least.
Or under the clothes.
Or under the
hand job,
clothes, but yeah, it's clearly like Umox is clearly a sexual
Yes.
thing.
Definitely.
But then it's also like, Quark will grab Nog's ears as like punishment. So it's also like a grabbing him by his sex.
It's like being grabbed by the dick and pulled across the room when you don't want it.
Or maybe nipples, because they're not
I think-
reproductive, so it's got to be an
think
erogenous.
nipples is a better...
It's an erogenous zone.
Because like nipples are either erotic to be touched there, or like maybe like kind of sensitive and painful if it's not warmed up correctly.
Right, and then
Death by Umox. Yeah, that's interesting.
And then in their own, language, they like my ears are tingling.
Yeah.
When an opportunity arises, so it's like that's just weird. Like, yes, my erogenous zones are excited by this opportunity.
Yeah. That
So-
makes sense to me, though. It's like with the Ferengi like being physically turned on by profit opportunity.
Yeah.
I buy that.
So yeah, it made me think more about the way that they portray Ferengi in their ears.
Yeah, that is. I've never thought about them like grabbing by the ear because they do that a lot.
A lot. So it's
Yeah.
like giving each other titty twisters.
I know. I think you're right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, and then Morn made a move on Dax. That's the other
That's
thing.
right.
we
More made
learned.
a move on Dax, and she thinks that he's kind of cute.
He's cute, yeah. This is where we start to see that Dax, I would say not Jedzia, I think the Dax symbiont is kind of a horn dog.
Maybe.
I think we see more of it later, where it's just like, yeah.
I think that.
Or at
Dax-
least the symbiont has a broader view of what could be considered sexually
that I
attractive.
agree with. I think that Dax is like attracted to a wide range of things that
Yeah.
would surprise most
If you were
people.
going to do this show now, you would make Dax, it would be explicit, like a pansexual character.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think you could have sold that at the
Anything
time.
except for Julian Bashir.
Right, which we can get into more in the next
episode, yeah,
'Cause,
totally.
oof, boy.
Yeah, I mean, every episode has like a moment or two of fun character stuff, even if the episode is bad. But this one I feel like has the least.
I hated Mulleback. That was the other thing I wrote down. I hated him. I hated the way he was
so
like
creepy.
He was so creepy, and there were some actor choices there that I thought like you're saying, where he's being gross on purpose, but it's
Right.
also like being gross with the, I don't know. It's just something turned me off about all that.
Yeah, the way he like called, what did he call Kira, like girl or
Girl, yeah.
Yeah.
And he kept calling her like cutie, I think, and being very dismissive, gender-based dismissive.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, why does this Bajoran man on this other planet's moon act like a creepy old white guy?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And entitled.
Yeah, like an entitled old farmer white guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get frustrated with how close things are to our society when they're in other societies. And I understand that they're like trying to tell stories about our society
Right.
by examining it through like an alien culture. but it's like that kiln was made of parts that they bought at Home Depot. You know, like they didn't even try. Yeah. Well, let's rate this episode. I feel like, unfortunately, there's not much to talk about with this one.
No, it just wasn't. Oh, the other thing that I wrote down was that it's the 5th moon of Bajor, and I meant to mention this in an earlier episode. Bajor has 14 planets. So the Bajoran system is fucking crowded.
Yeah, it's huge. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, it was one of the earlier episodes we saw. They mentioned the 14th planet, or I think it was Keiko doing school. I think there's like, you are overhearing it, and they're like, in the 14 planets of the Bajoran system.
Wow.
Bajor is the 11th.
Okay.
So
is this moon? This moon is like a moon of Bajor. It's not even one of those planets.
Not even one of the planets.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just crowded as shit.
Yeah.
All right. I popped the poll in the chat. Click there to rate this episode. If anybody votes at all, then your vote will count a lot. Doug, what do you think?
Well, I was gonna say, Quite the Snapper wanted to know if Umox was spelled correctly.
Oh, I don't know. I think
that's not correct. It's OO-MAX.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ooh, Mox. So what do we rate this episode? This is a tough one.
Really? I don't know. It's a 3, I think.
A 3?
And it's, I really do like the B story, but I feel like...
What the fuck is happening? When I type 3, it jumps down.
Oh, you get something...
Let me do that one.
Yeah, it's numlock. So that's why. Because that's
right.
the...
You got
yeah.
it. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, look, I'll go 5.
5?
Because
what?
Because of the B story.
Okay, here's my thought on this. The B story is a 5.
Yeah.
But the main story is like a 1.
Yeah, I thought the main story was probably like a 1 or a 2.
And
I thought the B story was... I like the B story. I would have... Like, if this was just the episode, I could have seen myself giving the episode, like, even a 6 or a 7.
The B story?
The B story, yeah. So that's why I'm going with 5.
Yeah, so this happened before where, like, the B story was way higher than the A story. But then, I think this happened last time, actually, with Battle Lines. Like, the main plot was a 2, but the B story was like a 3 or 4, but I still gave it a 2.
You gave it a 2, yeah. I gave it a 5. Yeah, see, that's my...
5.5, yeah.
5 is like my...
I don't know, is this better or worse than Battle Lines?
I think it's worse.
Well, the B story of this episode is better than anything in Battle Lines, for sure.
You know what? Let's give me... I'm going to go 4.
You're going down to 4.
Well, no, you made a good point. Is this better or worse than Battle Lines?
Yeah.
Battle Lines, at least the A story was like, oh, this is kind of... the premise itself was...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the B story, that was the Tetrarch, which I liked.
Yeah.
It was a good B story. It was Nog and Jake again saving the day.
Saving the day, yeah.
Yeah, shit.
So, yeah, relatively speaking, this one's a 4.
They're both bad episodes. I'm going to give this a 2.5.
All right.
Because the B story is better than the B story of Battle Lines.
Yeah.
The A story is kind of, I don't know.
Worse.
I mean, it's either worse or the same for me.
See, at least, so, I don't know why I'm saying at least.
Ooh, we got ratings. Thank you, guys.
All
we got a 4.5 from the chat.
4.5.
Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you for participating. It makes me feel good.
Like, Battle Lines, you weren't supposed to like anyone, and that carried it, you know?
Yeah. Well, now we got the tough part.
And also, that guy from Breaking Bad was better than this guest star, who apparently is an actor of some renown, who played Mullabach.
Yeah, I read about him a little bit, and his story is very sad.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't read about the actor's story. I just knew that he had been.
I just read that his daughter committed suicide, and then he killed himself like a week later.
Oh God,
that's awful.
That's rough. Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it cheery now. Favorite character. Is that what we do next? That is, right?
Yeah.
Favorite character, then best performance? Yeah. Yep. Okay, favorite character in this episode, Jake and Nog.
Jake and Nog, yeah.
Have to be on there.
Kira,
I guess.
Yeah. Mullabach, because he's a huge part of it.
I ain't no Mullabach girl. I don't know how to spell that. I think that's right.
I wrote it down.
Oh, that's close.
1L M-U-L-I-B-O-K.
B-O-K. I was not that close at all. Okay. Who else in this episode for best or for favorite character?
I mean, anyone that... I mean, Quark is in it for a minute. Cisco's in it for a minute, but...
Yeah. Does anyone have anyone they want to nominate?
Yeah, say if chat wants to nominate someone.
I can't think of anyone else.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with those 4.
Yeah.
Favorite character in this episode? There's your poll. What do you think?
This is such a tough one because, again, it's basically there's not a lot to pull from.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Jake. And it's a tough call between Jake and Nog.
Yeah.
But I like Jake's character because they did something a little bit different here where Jake had more of an influence on Nog. Nog was ready to walk away when they couldn't get money for the Yamak sauce. Nog was like, fuck it, I only want Latinum, I'm done.
Right.
But then Jake was like, I don't know, this is kind of fun. I'm kind of getting into the whole Ferengi trade thing. Let's hear him out. So
totally.
So his character, it was interesting because he was sort of nudging Nog along to the the Ferengi commerce adventure. So,
yeah, I agree.
And I feel like a more mature Ferengi would obviously look at the opportunity to kind of keep laddering up and not just be like Latinum or done.
Right.
And that is like really scraping the bottom of the barrel for something.
Totally. I feel like it has to be between Nog and Jake for favorite character in this episode. Although Sisko does come in the end and like drop some logic and like be reasonable.
If he could shave 10 minutes off the episode, he would definitely get my vote. Because he definitely is like, hey, you know what? This is 100% bullshit.
Yeah. And I actually really like his speech of like, you know what, Major Kira, like, I like you and I need you.
Right.
You know, I really like his presence in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
But I'm having a hard time. I mean, I love Nog and Jake, but like, and I love their storyline in this one, but it doesn't really pay off or like develop in a way that's super satisfying to me.
Right.
But they're both so charming. I'm struggling. I feel like my favorite moment in this episode is Sisko talking to Kira.
Yep.
So, based off that, I'm going to say my favorite character in this episode is Sisko.
Okay.
And then what does chat say? That feels wrong. That feels wrong. No, it feels wrong. No, I'm going Jake.
Okay.
I normally I'd go Nog over Jake, but because Nog was like ready to quit, basically because of what you said.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think that it's Jake.
Because that is a character decision.
Oh, and Kira got the vote from the chat. Kira's actually, I think, a really valid vote in this one because the writing is shit, but the character is strong, you know?
Yeah.
And there's something about her presence in this that is compelling, even though everything happening around her is dumb.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why my vote... Oh, well, we're not there yet.
Well, we're there now. Best performance.
Kira.
Kira.
Nog, Jake, Mullabach.
Jake.
Sisko.
I don't think I even put Sisko on the chat vote for favorite character, which is funny because I was about to vote for that. And that's really everybody from this one. So, okay, you guys, here's the poll. Hey, what's up, Patrick?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. That's a good question. What did you do for New Year's?
Nothing. I don't think we did anything. Our wedding anniversary is the 1st.
Oh,
so
cool.
Sometimes we'll do stuff on the...
You got married on the 1st?
Yeah. We were trying to get married on New Year's Eve in Vegas.
Fun.
But the winds were too high, and we had rented a... We had... Not rented, we had reserved for like a hot air balloon, and then they wouldn't do it because it was too windy.
You guys
so then
are
we had
awesome.
to reschedule, and then we wound up doing a helicopter one.
Fun.
On the 1st, yeah.
You did like a Vegas helicopter wedding?
We did we got married in a helicopter. It's basically like
I love
you
that.
can call up a get married company and they'll send you what you need, and then you do whatever you want, you know?
Right.
So it wasn't like they offered a helicopter wedding. They were just like, we just do marriages, and then we're like, great, we reserved a helicopter tour of the Strip, so let's just get married while we're on our tour. Kind of thing.
Cool. That's awesome. How long ago was that?
13 years?
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hey, what's up, Mike? Good to see you. Spaceballs, indeed. Andy performed in this thing called New Voices at the Seattle Rep, and it was a really great night. There was a ton of different performers, a lot of people that I know through Andy from the musical theater scene here. And then there was a fireworks show at the Space Needle, which is right outside, so we actually got to see it from inside, which was really nice because it was warm. It was really fun.
Nice.
And then we went to her friend's after party.
Oh,
yeah, it was great.
Fun.
We had a really fun night. Okay, best performance.
I'm going with Kira.
You're going with Kira, yeah.
Because I was torn between Kira as the performance or the character.
I just forgot her name.
And Nana Visitor.
Nana Visitor, thank you.
And I know I can do both.
Yeah.
But I did want to do at least a little nod to the B story.
Yeah.
But I do think that it was, you know, as an actor, she had a tough row to hoe here, you know, and I thought that she did well with what I considered not a great story.
I know. She did do really well. Like, I really like Nana Visitor. I don't know how to. I think it's Nana. I'm not sure.
Okay, sure.
I feel like when I went to a Star Trek convention and she like saw one of her Q&As, and I think they announced her as Nana Visitor.
Nana, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I'll try to remember.
I don't remember for sure though, because my memory's terrible. I really like her a lot, and I feel like she gets the short end of the stick a lot on this show as far as like what she's given to do. Yeah,
and a lot of it is just like make her be like frustrated at the moment. You
totally.
know?
Yeah. But something about what she does with this episode I find to be very compelling, and it's fun to see her in this like not domestic environment, but like agricultural environment. It's just such a contrast to her character. And there's something about it that like draws her to want to work the land all of a sudden, or build this kiln out of Home Depot parts. And I don't know, there's something about that that's just so like something that she did with it that is interesting, even though everything that everyone was saying was not interesting. What she did with it was interesting, and I was so impressed by that. Because this episode is stupid garbage, but like it's almost worth watching just to see her character in that context. And I actually remember this episode vividly from the times I've seen it in the past. I've seen it at least twice before. Not because of what happened, but because of like seeing her uniform come apart and like see like the cool like lattice work on the top of her uniform. And just seeing her like be at ease for a minute was so interesting. So yeah, I'm giving it to her also. Okay, best performance from the chat goes to Kira. All right. We are in agreement. Nana Visitor sweeping the performance category, which is great because in Battle Lines I was not wild about her performance choices. That death whale was a little intense for me. But that's okay.
Well, all of them have a hard time with, I think, real broad kind of things.
Cisco has a tendency to go insane when he gets something broad. Cool. Well, should we take a break and then?
What a great movie! We've been jammed.
Oh yeah, Spaceballs. I haven't seen that in years. That is a good movie though.
I do like that. Oh, mushrooms.
Oh yeah, mushroom rating.
This is like a 0, right? There's nothing.
Well,
there's no space magic here.
There is space magic here because 6 years. Hey Andy, what's up, Andy?
There's financial space magic.
Yeah, financial space magic, exactly. Like 6 years of pay equals 5 bars of latinum, which equals how many?
5,000 rapages.
5,000 rapages of a Yamek sauce, which equals Terra quadrants of land.
The
tesseract of land.
Tessa parcels.
Tessa something.
I do appreciate that tessipates.
Tessipates.
It's one of those things that Star Trek is wildly inconsistent with. Where sometimes other cultures apparently measure everything in minutes and hours and metric system, and then other times
tessipates and
rapages.
Rapages.
I guess rapages is an English word, but we just don't. Yeah, I mean it does. It is a thing, but we just don't. We literally don't refer to anything.
Okay.
Like it exists as a thing. A rapage, but we don't measure anything in rapages.
I've never heard of rapages. I'm gonna look it up right now. Rapages. Did you mean Rap Pages? About Rap Pages magazine. It's in the Urban Dictionary.
The other thing I wrote... Well,
Urban Dictionary, rapage.
You're spelling it wrong. It's
that explains a lot.
W-R-A.
Oh. So wait, Urban Dictionary for rapage, to make an exceptional rap or to create an amazing rhyme or tune that only God himself could top. That's some hot rapage.
Some hot rapage, yeah.
Rapages, like that?
Yeah.
And the first thing that comes up is Memory Alpha. That's hilarious. A rapage was a unit of Yamek sauce. That's what it says.
But there is a Wiktionary.
It's Broik. It was Broik who ordered 5,000 rapages of Yamek sauce. I thought that was Broik.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Broik is like the helper Ferengi that is...
Right, the guy that... Well, first of all Ferengi have like real tight, high pants.
Oh, this is the guy... Hold on one second. Played by David B. Levinson. this guy is either like a distant cousin of mine or like a family friend or something.
Funny.
Like my dad knows this guy, and it used to come up a lot when I was a kid. He's like, yeah, this guy on Deep Space Nine. He plays one of the Ferengi game. I'm like, oh, is he Nog? He's like,
No.
I don't know. Is he
I don't-
Quark? No. Like, and it ended up being Broik. Yeah, but he's around for like all 7 years.
Yeah.
I've never met him, but apparently there's some relation in my family to this guy.
interesting.
I don't know what it is though.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, we got
Hi,
sidetracked.
Andy. Yeah, I didn't say hi to Andy. So
Okay, Rapages and Wiktionary. Here we go. Rappage, the act of rapping.
Right.
That which raps.
Yeah, so that's what I'm picturing is these are individual little like ketchup packets,
Okay.
but of Yammick sauce. So it's like I'm picturing 5,000 little like you tear it open, you squirt some Yammick sauce on your
sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and they weren't replicated. That was the other thing.
I loved that. I loved that detail because I was like already getting mad. I'm like, why did they order something that they could have replicated?
They have to throw that in.
But then when he says like not replicated, it's real. Like that to say that's like worth more. Hey John, what's up? Welcome. I love that detail.
Yeah.
That made me really happy. Stuff like that I need because like why didn't they beam the people out of the of like the fucking docking ring when it was stuck? Because they could have, I don't know. Maybe because like they're Bajoran monks who don't like to be beamed because they feel like their soul leaks out of their body. I would have bought that. I'm worried that my soul would leak out of my body if I was teleported. All right, well that is
That's short.
the second to shittiest episode that we've discussed so far. But we got 46 minutes out of it, though.
not bad.
I mean,
We
that's
did-
really not bad. We ended up talking about it like the normal amount of time. Almost.
We found some meat on the bones.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a quick break. Well, we're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
Who knows how quick it'll be?
Quick break. 10 minutes.
Quick break. Yeah, 10-minute break, and then
You're always back before me, so they
Yeah.
don't get lonely.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I
Then
might
I
just.
pop in a chat and I test out some new commands.
Yes, I love that. And then sometimes I make them real. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about If Wishes Were Horses, which is the episode with Rumpelstiltskin.
Yes.
All right, you guys. I'll leave you with Cowboy Data. And then here's our next episodes to watch for next week, The Forsaken and Dramatis Personae.
Ooh, Luxana.
Yeah, Luxana's coming up next time. That's going to be awesome. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're back.
Hi, John.
Welcome back, us. Oh my god. I saw that command cell 30 Yamak.
I tried to sell Yamak sauce.
And you tried to unseal stem bolts.
Because I was wondering if they have self-sealing stem bolts. They probably have manual stem bolts.
Yeah, they must have manual stem bolts. Because nothing happened, obviously, so... must be... Why did Miles O'Brien not know what self-sealing stem bolts were?
I mean, I will say, I think that was kind of a cute... storytelling structure there, mini one, trope, where it's all of these things, the Yamak sauce, the stem bolts, and it's like a MacGuffin where it's like it doesn't matter.
Right.
It is its own thing. So them with the stem bolts in particular, that is very specifically like, because the Yamak sauce is a thing. It's sauce. This is just it's technobabble made incarnate. It's a physical representation of technobabble. What is this? It's a self-sealing stem bolt. What does it do? It self-seals.
I don't think the authors of the episode knew what it did. I don't think it mattered to them, which is frustrating.
Well, no, because I think that's the intent. It's almost like it's a joke. It's an intentional, like, it's a plot device. So we're gonna make it explicit by having the guy you'd think on the station who could explain it show up and go, I've never heard of these before.
Well, speaking of stem bolts. Wait, wrong one. Wrong one. Hey, what's up, Peter Griffin? That's exactly what's happening. I thought I put it there. This one. There it is.
That was the meme for...
Yeah, Doug makes memes for every episode. I put a link to the Instagram in the description. And we missed a meme last week, and it's one of my favorites, so I gotta show this one. Odo to security. Someone is having fun on the promenade. Send back up. I love that one. And we have one more for later that I accidentally flashed. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get into If Wishes Were Horses, a significantly improved episode.
Yes.
It's significantly better.
Yes.
This is the episode where people's imaginations literally start running wild, where you have Rumpelstiltskin and you have... Buck Bukai, the fictional baseball player
for the London Kings,
and you have the horny Jadzia Dax, fictional Jadzia Dax, created by Dr. Julian Bashir.
Julian's Dax.
Julian's Dax, yes, running around trying to have sex with Julian
everywhere.
Constantly. Yeah. So you have, but it seems like these.
Oh, you said Rumpelstiltskin already.
I said Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah. So these imaginary characters are, we don't know if they're like holograms or what they are throughout most of the episode, and there's also this space mouth outside that's threatening to swallow the entire station. But it seems like these fictional characters are also aliens of some kind and like have their own,
Yeah, that's like a late reveal. They spend
it's a very late reveal.
Because they go out of their way to say they're not holograms. They're definitely alive. They're definitely real,
Yeah. Peter Griffin, I'm just gonna ban you. It's just easier. Peter's been by before.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, he's always been a dick whenever he shows up.
Yeah. So, I'm just gonna ban you.
Sorry, Peter. Sorry, you're a dick.
Oops, I deleted. Hide user on this channel. I did the wrong thing. I double did it. I deleted it and banned you. It was unnecessary.
Double banned. You set the phasers on kill.
Yeah.
That'd be a good text command. Set phaser to ban.
Yeah, totally. Set phaser to ban. I love that. So this episode is, there's a lot of fun shit in this episode. You have these imaginary characters running around, interacting with the real people. Like, Miles O'Brien's relationship with Rumpelstiltskin is fascinating. Yeah. And you get to see Molly and Keiko, you get to see Odo with an emu. It's just great.
No, what was it? It was a jackdaw.
Jackdaw or something. What was that? Did you write down what that thing was called? It's on...
I just wrote down not wrote down. I remember jackdaw. But it was a something jackdaw.
Yeah, it's like... And the way he says it is so great. I have to look this up.
Sorry, I can't deal with it. I've got a blah, blah, blah jackdaw running around.
Oh, that's the wrong episode. Okay. Yeah, Rumpelstiltskin. Hilarious. The guy from Carnival playing Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, I like him.
He's great. I love him in Carnival.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was it in the summary?
It's kind of a shitty role.
Buck Bukai. Oh no, I saw it in the where is it? This and that once again the stream has gotten even
Gunji
more.
Jackdaw.
Gunji Jackdaw. Yes. Where is it? I want to see it. I can't find it. Let me see.
And that's Oda with a... I'm dealing with a Gunji
What's up,
Jackdaw down
Random
here.
Boy? Do we watch Dragon Ball? Asks Random Boy. I've never seen it. Yeah, it's just an emu. A Gunji Jackdaw.
Yeah.
We've got a Gunji Jackdaw. Like the way he said. I just wanted to know so I could do that. Because I love the way he says it.
He hits it real hard.
Yeah, so the first imaginary character we meet in the beginning is Rumpelstiltskin.
Yep.
And it's right after Miles is reading to his daughter this like story. I think that's still the same person.
Oh yeah.
He's like reading this story
That
to his
question
daughter.
is always a leading question.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then Rumpelstiltskin is like actually appears in the room.
Oh, also, it turns out Miles actually a good storyteller.
Yeah, totally. And it seems
contrary to the episode where they literally made him
that's right.
a storyteller, where his storytelling ability depended on the lives of the village.
He's just bad in
and
front of
he
crowds.
biffed it, yeah.
For his daughter, though, he's like got it nailed.
He did all the voices.
Yeah, totally. I actually interviewed Molly O'Brien, Hanahate.
Oh yeah.
In my podcast years ago, and she talked about this episode and like mentioned how she was like scared of Rumpelstiltskin in real life.
Yeah.
And I read an interview where she like said the same thing, where she said how like she thought it was a real Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, well, because you're
terrified.
a kid. And,
Yeah, she was like 5 or 6 or
right.
something.
And
Yeah.
they've read to you the story of Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
And then they've had Rumpelstiltskin show up in front of you.
She is so
cute
in this episode. It's like almost painful how cute she is when
she
she like does this little like meh thing. It's so adorable.
It's very adorable.
Yeah,
and,
she's a really great child actress.
and their family is adorable. They show the
yeah.
O'Briens. This
I
is
love
like
the
a
O'Briens.
happy moment of a domestic bliss with the
Right.
O'Briens. And they even talked about a little space nookie right after they put their...
Yeah, you actually for once believe that there is any sort of chemistry between these two characters.
Yeah.
You know, I've always loved the O'Briens. Like they write them strangely sometimes, but
Yeah.
when they do it right, it just makes me so happy. I really like it.
I feel like it's bitter writers expressing their own marital frustrations through what should be a happy space couple.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
it's not. It's unfair.
Yeah.
They get such a short shrift.
Yeah, totally. It's just like the writers of Star Trek seem to have horrible relationships with women. You know, they just take it out on all these characters.
Speaking of which,
Yeah, let's talk about
let's
it.
get into it because this is it's the worst of this episode.
Well, before the meat of the episode even starts, we have Bashir like begging Jadzia to sleep with him.
Begging.
And he's like, "You're all I think about." And she's like, "That you were thinking about
You're
these other women
fucking
all the time, like
space
you
ladies left and right."
Totally. You only talk about you know all these women you're so into all the time."
Here are the notes I wrote. Back to shitty Julian.
Yeah.
And then Julian is getting some, but weirdly obsessed with Jadzia.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like to do a dive deeper into the context than the story presents. But Julian is like it's all a conquest for him. Jadzia
Right.
means nothing to him.
Right. I
It's
agree.
just like, I want to be the one that bangs Jadzia.
Right.
All these women that are coming into the station, I'm also banging all of them as well.
Right, and I don't think he even recognizes that about himself, and is just completely unaware of himself.
Yeah, he's like Nog. Like,
Yeah.
what, you know?
He's got the emotional maturity of a teenager.
Yeah, except he can actually get laid.
And I love the fact that Jadzia is just like, no. You know, like
she friend zones him literally.
She doesn't fall for it for a second, and I like that a lot. I really like that, and I think that
that's where the maturity that Jadzia Dax, because Jadzia I think is mature, you know, like a mature young lady.
Right.
Jadzia Dax is a mature, you know, 400-year-old person, and that's where it comes across well.
And she even says, like, I was a young man at one point.
And then when
I
Cisco
what it
asks,
was
like, what's wrong with Julian? She's like, he's young.
Yeah. Totally.
How is Julian? Young as an insult.
Yeah, which was great. I loved it. There was another, oh man. At one point, O'Brien calls Rumpelstiltskin. He's like, "Go away, Figment."
Figment, yeah.
Which is my new favorite insult.
This is
just get out of here, Figment. You're just a figment of my own imagination. You're not even real, you bitch. Like
in Miles' words, there's friends and figments.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it so much as like an insult. He just spit it at Rumpelstiltskin
Figment.
so meanly. It was hilarious. Yeah, so I love that Bashir's just getting shut down. And actually, I felt like his acting in this episode was really great.
It was.
When fake Jadzia shows up and starts like making out with him, his whole thing of like, what's wrong with you? Oh god, it must be me. What's wrong with me?
Right.
Like not being able to believe what's happening because he knows that it's not real because he's...
Right, this can't be possible because you wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, then I've got to have some sort of like
sick.
space sex magic stuff on me.
Yeah.
And then, after both those things are proven untrue, he's like, well, then why am I fighting this?
Right, yeah, which was weird.
He totally would have banged.
He would have banged fake Jadzia.
Jadzia.
He's the type of guy who, like, will get drinks and someone and have sex with them, which is still rape, you know?
Yes.
Like, it's very upsetting, but I'm glad that he's called out for it finally in this episode, and like he's not getting any, you know?
Right.
It's just not happening, which I love.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy. And I love the fact that, like, this fake version of Jadzia that will give him some attention, is super submissive. And real Jadzia is like, is this what you want? You want, like, someone this submissive?
And he's like, no.
She's not that submissive, but then she's, like, 100% submissive.
So this is what I mean. This shows that Julian's interest in Jadzia is purely as an objectified physical object.
I agree.
Her intelligence, her personality, her wit, any of that is not what he wants from her.
Right.
And this manifestation shows it clearly, you know?
Totally. And I do, my only regret is that she never stated that exact thing explicitly.
Right.
Because she's, like, being nice to him. She's like, yo, you're just, you're sweet, you're an idiot, you know? And, like, just ignores him, basically. But I do feel like his behavior is, like, kind of harmful. Yeah,
it shows... This is one of those, like, when Star Trek doesn't examine something because they're doing it almost too soon, in a way, society-wise, or the writers...
I don't think the writers know it's harmful.
They're just not thinking about it.
I don't think the writers understand that, like, men pining after women in a way that doesn't, like, acknowledge their personhood.
Their agency.
Their agency is a damaging trope that is, like, done all the time.
Right.
And it's painful to see it in Star Trek, but it happens a lot in Star Trek.
Well, and that's what I meant. Like, in their defense, culturally, we weren't talking about that.
Right.
It did existed, and especially people that went through that were aware that it existed.
Right.
But, you know, I think especially among men, it was not... It's the whole, like, romantic comedy thing where you're like, oh, stalker behavior always gets rewarded with the object of your desire, with the object of your obsession.
It makes men think that when women say no, that what they really mean is keep asking.
Keep asking,
which is not true. Hey, Stitch Spin, what's up? Welcome.
Escalate into crazier and crazier things. Yeah, so that's... And it's rare for me to say this. I still, as gross as it all was, as putting it out there were enough addressing of it by Jadzia that it made it palatable for me.
I totally agree. I agree. I feel like this episode finally, it was like explicitly denied him.
Yeah.
And she gave him a reason why, which is like, you claim to be only all about me, but you are like hitting on everyone, so I don't believe you.
Right, right. And you don't like me as a person.
Right.
It is just a thing to fuck and a score to get.
Right.
And then his fantasy made real makes it objectively obvious to which is also like my second rewatch of this, I cringed for Julian because like, oh my god, I can't imagine if my fantasy like that was made real to the people who were the object of it.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He deserves it. But I did feel pity for him.
And my memory tells me that this was a bit of a turning point in the series where he stops acting this way to Jadzia. We'll see if that's true. But, you know, we're like at least 2/3 of the way through this season. Let's see. No, like 3/4. Over 3. We're close to the end. We're like 3/4 of the way through or something. Yeah. No. 4/5? I can't do it. I can't do it.
More than half. We're more than half.
Yeah, and he's been acting this creepy way the whole time and been creepy to her the whole time, and it's finally addressed, and I think that they kind of put it down at this point as a plot point. But it's so funny how, like, when I was a kid, I believed Julian when he said that he loved her. And I felt bad for Julian.
Yeah.
And I empathized and, like, identified with Julian because I was, like, immature kid who had these like intense crushes that I didn't know what to do about.
Of course.
But like you get older and you learn how to control those impulses and you realize that like part of that is just like impulse, you know? And that it's like that you project onto other people what you want them to be without them actually being it.
Right.
Because you are not in love with someone, like being in love with someone from afar. I don't even like calling that love because I feel like that's just like it's like a projection onto
you're in love
what
with,
you want them to be.
You're in love with an image,
an idea of them.
An idea of
exactly.
them. Yeah.
Whereas if you actually met them
you're in love
and
with the person.
talk to them and like were with them in some way,
right.
it would change the fundamentals of your relationship, and you might think something totally different about them.
Right.
And like that's what you learn as you get older and grow up and like have real experiences with real people and like accidentally hurt people sometimes or get hurt by people. Like you just this stuff, it's complicated, and it's just a part of being human. And it's a part of growing up, but it happens before you become the chief medical officer of a space station.
Well, if you've lived an unchallenged life, that's the thing.
Yeah, which
and
it seems like maybe he has.
Julian, yeah.
But it makes no sense with what he learn about his character in like a season or two.
Well, yeah, there's all it's welcome to Star Trek retcon.
Yeah. I feel like they tried to set something up with Julian that didn't really work, and they completely abandoned, and then run out of stuff for him, and then make up something totally different. Yeah. Eventually.
And they could have made Julian pine for Jadzia in a less creepy way. Yeah. But they didn't, and so they have to fix it. Like now,
or the same exact way, but only for Jadzia. It changes a lot. It really changes a lot. Like it makes it so that he's just kind of out of control of his passion. Right. Versus like just being a hornball. Yeah. But I'm so glad that I feel like we don't have to talk about it too much more, because it's come up a lot so far.
Well, this is the thing, is that they brought it up again, which initially for me, I was turned off right away. I was like, oh, I thought we had put to bed this version of Julian. Yeah. But having the existence of Julian's Jadzia, that makes it okay to bring it up, because they're showing it.
They're examining it. Finally, they're examining it. Totally. Yeah, and they didn't. I guess they didn't need to bring it up as often, or maybe. I don't know. I mean, I like what they do with it in this episode.
Well, you make a good point. To me, it's going to depend on going forward. Yeah, because now you have acknowledged. Now it's not a matter of like, no one really thought about it. Like,
the show has acknowledged it.
Right. What do you do now?
Yeah, totally.
What does he do now? Because also, not only has it been examined from a narrative point of view, in-universe character, he literally came face to face with the reality of it. Right. I mean, talk about therapy.
Yeah. He had to like live and speak to his fantasy of Jadzia and have it pointed out to him how it's not real.
Like, it's one thing to find like a crush note that you've written, or like, oh, we came across a pad Julian had laying around that's just like super erotic fiction about Jadzia, and then he can be like, nah, wave it away. This is like, oh no, now it exists in the world.
Yeah, aliens reached into his mind and pulled out his image of Jadzia.
Good transition. Let's get into that. The aliens, the late reveal of the aliens. How'd you feel?
How I feel about the aliens is kind of tied up in how I feel about the episode in general, which is that it is a rehashing of Star Trek plots that we've seen before.
Yes.
Like we've seen like holodeck versions of somebody's fantasies played out in real life with Barclay on TNG. We've seen people's fantasies and people's imagination brought to life by the Traveler. Well, not the Traveler, by being in that version of space and where no man has gone before.
The creatures they had captured
where no one has gone before.
The pilot of TNG, right? Can't they make stuff?
Yeah, they like made fantasies reality in the cage with Captain Pike.
This to me puts all of these things in the broader Q continuum. Like the Q continuum is the far end of the Q continuum, but then there's like all these other weird space magic beings in Star Trek that can just like create things out of apparently nothing and so seemingly have access to infinite power. Yeah, the universe is riddled with them.
Yeah, and the other thing we've seen a million times is like an alien species trying to observe us and doing it in a way that is potentially harmful.
I feel like that's lightly trying to say like, yeah, but also what you do could be doing this unbeknownst to you.
Right. And but it's interesting at the end when Sisko says, why didn't you just talk to us? Right. And he said, maybe next year.
Yeah. Nope, we don't ever follow up with these.
Yeah, and these aliens have years, I guess. Yeah, it felt like hand-waving away the plot. So I guess how I feel about the aliens is that I love the silliness of this episode, and I really enjoy it, but I feel like they worked backwards from a silly idea, and I actually read this in Memory Alpha that the first idea was like Sisko or Jake Sisko walks off of the holodeck with a baseball player. Like that was the first idea, and I get actually this was super interesting. The Rumpelstiltskin character was originally a leprechaun, and Colm Meaney, who plays Miles O'Brien, complained and said like, every Irish actor on the planet is trying so hard to get away from this racist bullshit with leprechauns, and I really don't want to do this.
Right.
So they changed it.
Yeah, which is
great.
Better thing too, because otherwise you'd be like, why is he thinking about leprechauns?
It would have been awful.
Or
it would have been awful.
Oh no,
the way
you have to do it is him just being like angry about it being a leprechaun.
Yeah.
You know,
but if it's coming out of his imagination, then it has to be.
So this is where we get into another layer of the show, which they don't talk about, but I do, and it doesn't bother me, but I think it's interesting to think about the headcanon games of these aliens, by their own admission, or what they're claiming to do is they're claiming to study imagination, which they claim to have no understanding of.
Right. Which also reminds me of Nagilum from TNG.
Yeah.
It's just so many TNG, so many Star Trek plots rehashed.
Nagilum is interesting because Nagilum is really well done within Star Trek. Inscrutable alien.
Episode. Yeah. Yes.
It's just like, oh my god, his motivations are baffling, and even like the gross tar monster was like, all right, you've just made everything bad in one person.
Right.
Both of those, the Gillen being good, the tar monster being so much, still felt better than this.
Right.
Where it was just like, hi, we're space aliens and we don't understand imagination.
Right.
Like, what?
And then the episode falls apart a little for me at the end when he's talking about how imagination is so valuable and it's like what makes you special, and it really that's just writers wanking themselves off.
Yeah,
you know?
it's also this human exceptionalism that Star Trek does a lot that I hate when they're like, well, this is the Vulcans are logic and Klingons are strong. And humans have gumption.
Yeah, humans are the perfect thing in between, you know?
Right, or whatever. Yeah. Like humans, it's human imagination that makes them special.
Right.
It's our grit. But whatever the trope of the week is, they suddenly ascribe that to the pinnacle of humanity.
Like, why do that? Why not say, like, your imagination is advanced, but like we've seen imagination out in the galaxy that would blow your mind. You know? Like that seems more likely to me that there's more imagination out there than what we have on this planet.
Okay, so this is the gist of it, though. These are explorers. They're exploring the concept of imagination.
Yeah.
So I believe that they are curating what they're doing, what they're pulling out of. They're not just like, oh no, it's whatever you were thinking. I feel like they're picking and choosing, and they're picking because it's also certain people they're picking and choosing. It's made clear that it's not everyone.
It's not everyone. That's right. It's like about half the crew, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because they're explorers, which I think further implies that there's a science here.
Yeah.
That they're using a scientific method, so they're that wouldn't just be let's just necessarily observe imagination run wild.
Right.
I feel like it is picking and choosing.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I definitely I think it's made explicit that it is. Like, I mean, at one point they say like around half of the station has reported seeing things.
Right.
So I think it's explicitly made clear that it's not everybody, and that they are just like picking certain people, and they're trying to make connections with these people. Like Buck Bukai is interested in continuing the experiment because he's made a connection with Sisko.
Right.
And I like their connection. Like Sisko feels emotionally warm towards someone he's never met.
Right.
Because of what this character has done in his imagination,
right?
You know, and based off of the facts of the character, someone from 200 years ago that he never could have met. And I dig that. Like if imaginary, or like if Captain Picard suddenly walked into this room and aliens had like made a version of him for me to talk to,
yeah, I
wouldn't be able to help myself. I'd feel like, you know, love for that character.
Right.
I'd be terrified, but I'd be very excited and a little turned on. And
then he would be like, "Why am I so submissive, Jesse?"
And I'd be like, "Why am I resisting?" But I love what we learn about the characters in this. Like even Miles O'Brien, Rumpelstiltskin scares him.
Yeah.
Like, the character scares him because that character takes children. Right. And he's terrified to lose his child. Like his child is the most precious thing to him, and that character, just reading that story to his child, scared him enough so that these aliens could like read that and create that in real life, and then push him with that fear, which I thought was really interesting. Like really good character writing. And this episode, I think what saves it is that the character writing is great. Like pretty much across the board. Odo just being this like grumpy dude following emus around and like standing and staring at one. Amazing.
Oh, and then also
awesome.
Odo takes a moment to indulge himself in a little fantasy.
Oh my god, we learned so much about the holosuites in this episode.
Oh no, I meant when he was...
Oh yeah, when he's thinking about putting Quark in jail.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
That was great. Odo doesn't have a sense of smell, we learn.
Right.
Quark is leasing the room next door so we can use one holo generator to make more holosuites.
Right.
And Jake Sisko is going to play baseball in a holosuite that aliens from all over the galaxy are splooging all over the walls in. Like, explicitly made clear that it is used for sex. The holosuites are used for sex. It is stated in this episode.
Yeah, Odo was horrified.
It's a little terrifying that, like, the Jake Sisko's going to play baseball in there right after.
He's definitely not going to play baseball. He's going there to jerk off.
Oh, God.
You know, his dad thinks he's going to play baseball.
Yeah.
Quark thinks he's... Well, Quark doesn't care.
There's this whole side of the Buck Bukai and Jake Sisko relationship that was not gone into.
No, it's not baseball porn. That's just like the cover story.
I wish I hadn't said that out loud. It was awful. It's terrible.
Jake has some holo porn that is... the file name is
the Tetrarch.
Buck Bukai. It is the Tetrarch, yes.
The file name is Buck Bukai.
Buck Bukai.
But it is the Tetrarch,
right.
From Bajor.
And all she does is say, like, oh, Jake, you're so clever.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake, thank you for saving my people.
Tell me more about where the border should be for my people in this river.
And the Tetrarch never once asks about his dad.
Tell me more about making an opportunity out of a bad thing.
That's Nog's version of it. Nog's version of it is the Tetrarch giving Umaks to... no, the Nog's version is the Tetrarch giving him Umaks while
talking about making
she
an
recites
opportunity.
the rules of acquisition.
Yes.
That's a study aid that he created for himself.
Yeah, it's all very disturbing. It's very disturbing when you think about it. But Quark is also like great character stuff for Quark. He's just such a scumbag. And he's just like delighting in the idea of finding new ways to take advantage of people, and then like imagining these two beautiful women walking around with him, but then like distracted by the fact that everyone's winning at Dabo. And there's even a Starfleet officer who's like really into the Dabo table, which I liked. I mean, we know that Starfleet officers don't have currency, but they must, have to earn some currency to like play these games. Or maybe they get a per diem or something from Starfleet or whatever to live on this Bajoran space station. Yeah. And then you have people that get really into the games. I think that's cool.
Well, because that's what it's something that I've thought about a lot before as far as that, like, overlap of a moneyless society with a capitalist society. I think about that a lot. Because what that means is that the people from the moneyless society can get sucked into the dark cycle of the capitalist society. Yeah. So you could have Starfleet officers who are like, oh, fuck, I got in deep debt. I borrowed money from loan sharks for Latinum.
Now I'm hooked on tube grubs and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, because you would be required to follow the contract. So you could wind up losing your career. People could have all of those ills and temptations exist. Yeah. Where if they were on Earth, it probably would exist, but in a different form.
Yeah. Do you think that any Starfleet officers got into gambling and developed a beetle snuff habit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Totally. And then who? So what was the other fantasy from this episode? Oh, the one we haven't talked about much is like Sisko and Buck Bukai's relationship, which was really interesting.
It was nice, yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked the casting of this like baseball superstar. Very old baseball.
Yeah.
When like Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth, right.
Babe
he's
Ruth
kind
style.
of he's kind of a chubby dude.
Yeah, he's a little on the chubbier side. I just thought that was kind of cool for some reason. I don't know what it was about that guy. Something about him just like spoke baseball, even though he didn't really look like a baseball star. Like now, baseball stars are all jacked up on steroids and like super buff and everything. But I love
it's a '90s version of an idealized future of baseball.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's interesting that they kind of go out of their way in Star Trek to talk about how baseball is extinct.
It's dead.
Like everybody got sick of baseball. It was too slow of a sport.
Right. Also, World War III was happening.
Yeah. I don't know.
That might have been, the eugenic wars really took the wind out of the sails
out of baseball. Yeah. It's all just so strange and wonderful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is a great episode of Deep Space Nine inside of a mediocre episode of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, there's like so much that I like about it. It's kind of a notorious episode because, like, oh, you mean the one with Rumpelstiltskin in it?
Right.
Like people talk about it derisively.
But if it had been a leprechaun, this would be a like, oh my god, like a
Yeah,
shit
we
all
have
over
like
an
a
episode.
code of honor situation
Yeah.
from season 1 of TNG.
Yeah. So Rumpelstiltskin, it is corny, but also, you know,
I think it works.
Abe Lincoln showed up in TOS, so
Yeah.
put your pants back on. Calm down.
Totally. Oh my god.
This is why I can't wait for Discovery to do.
Doesn't Abe Lincoln show up in TNG also?
I don't know.
On that the Q episode on that planet? No. I'm mixing those 2 episodes up.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, never mind. No, they're just like
Voyager gets
they're
Amelia
just like,
Earhart.
They're like soldiers that
they're just
look
like
like
French
American
Foreign
Revolution
Legions.
if they were like monsters.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are just, I feel like those are like some of the creatures created by these aliens, also on the Q continuum, as they said, where it's just like they just make a real thing out of nothing.
Yeah.
So those soldiers were just, they existed and then they disappear.
Yeah, and Wesley gets stabbed.
It was get stabbed.
Ran afoul of some Bajorans in their agricultural moon. Now I'm just fucking everything up. Yeah. So I do find the whole... I just realized something.
What's that?
There's no B-plot, is there?
Not per se. I mean, there's a lot of interweaving things that's happening.
It doesn't need one. There's like a whole bunch of interweaving arcs. There's a whole bunch of good character stuff happening.
Which is good. That's like everyone is experiencing this one event, and then they're showing kind of bits and pieces of it.
What do you think about the reveal that there is no spatial anomaly? Like Cisco realizing that they imagined it, and that it's not there, and just being like, drop the shields. Yeah, we're fine. Like in the middle of all this chaos.
At first, I didn't like it because it feels again like a Deus Ex Machina kind of thing, where it's just like, okay, here we are. We're boom, we got the solution.
Right.
Watching it again, I did gain an appreciation for it because there's this escalation of like it's getting bad, and then they all the hints are there. Like none of the readings make sense. It's just crazy town.
Yeah,
you know, we're gonna, just like happened in this other galaxy, we're gonna destroy the whole system, and Kira's starting to freak out about it.
They did lay some pipe for it.
Yeah, they laid some pipe for it, and did it in a good way. And then Rumpelstiltskin shows up and is like, "Hey, I have magic powers. I could probably do this if you give me." So then. And earlier they said these were aliens, so I feel like a reading of that as a viewer at that moment could be like, oh, what are they doing here? Like, these are like bad aliens trying to get something over on O'Brien or something like that.
Right.
They can trick you into thinking or forgetting about the other aspect of the story of everything being fiction.
Yeah.
You know, it's, unless you watch this episode first time through, and as soon as the anomaly shows up, you're like, nope, that's also an imagination thing. I think the ending works.
Yeah. I think it works pretty well. Hey, what's up, Brent? Welcome, dude. Good to see you. I think it's always going to be frustrating when you find out that everything that happened was an illusion. But the whole episode is based off of the premise that everything that's happening is an illusion.
Right.
So
it's almost like you should realize that.
Yeah, it's like they should have realized it sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works. Yeah. I like it.
And it is, I do like, that's a good Cisco commanding moment. Like,
it is a good Cisco moment. Right. It really is.
Because no one wants to lower the shields.
Yeah, like this is like the first time in a while that Cisco's figured out what's going on.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, I know what to do. Like, he really captains for
the
once,
shit out of that.
In a way that we're used to Picard doing.
Right.
And it's really, like, gratifying to see him do that, because Cisco's method of command is a lot of like, what do you guys think I should do? Do it right now.
Right.
And he does that in this episode. He's like, like, this is the thing that destroyed this whole system last time. And then O'Brien says, well, that might be our best thing to do. And Cisco says, do it! You know? The thing that destroyed the entire system. Do it! And obviously it doesn't work.
Yep.
But they actually fired something out into a fake vortex, so what happened to that?
Well, maybe it just detonated and then just didn't do anything.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's really nice to see him take command. It's nice to see him make intuitive leaps of logic that solve the situation, because we don't really see that often. You know, it's just a lot of him like reacting and barking orders.
Right.
It's interesting going back and rewatching season 1 of DS9, because I do see him now more as a commander than as a captain. Yeah, because he is a commander, but when I saw it the first time, I'm like, well, that's just like in name. He's like in charge, so he's kind of like the captain, even though he's just a commander in rank. But he's really like not quite there. He's not quite there as a captain yet, and you see him kind of make steps towards that throughout the season.
Yeah,
and which honestly is not not bad. You know, it's not that badly written. It's like there's some good stuff there. There's some,
he gets good growth in a smooth arc.
There's a little bit of arc happening with a lot of these characters where they're kind of getting you towards something more palatable, especially with Julian. And
Julian has a rough arc in the sense that it's not planned out, and it shows that it's not planned out. So you just it can be like this jagged line.
Yeah.
Where Cisco, even if they didn't plan it out, they still. It's not like Cisco gets to this like, oh, Cisco's feeling very captain-y, and then it's like, oh, no, now he's back to not, you know.
No, he just like gets better.
Right.
Yeah, he just gets better at his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much to like about this episode.
Yeah.
And a little bit to be frustrated with.
So this is one of these things where I think of certain polarizing episodes really help define how an individual views Star Trek, you know?
Yes.
And I feel like this is one of those that if you're like, you know what, I hate this episode, you're kind of moving yourself into... You're defining your own personal version of Star Trek, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But it does put you, I think, outside of the beautiful spectrum of Star Trek.
I agree. I think that the character stuff in this episode is so strong that it's hard to not like it.
Yeah.
Like for me, I mean, I think for most people that like Star Trek, a big part of what connects them to it is the feeling of family from the characters and the feeling that like I want to know these people, I want to hang out with these people. And I think that this is one of the first episodes where they gel as a family, where they gel as a unit, and you actually see a lot of the characters together. You don't see that often, where they're like all working at ops together. We've only seen that like 3 times all season or something. So it's
this is an ensemble episode. It's not like
it's very much an ensemble episode.
The last one was a Kira episode.
Yeah, and like the aphasia virus was also kind of like this.
That's an ensemble, right? That's another example of there doesn't need to be a B plot per se,
right?
Because they've got a thing that's happening, and then you're just watching all the other characters be affected by it.
And it's also like the format is so classically Star Trek. Like there's a crazy thing happening that's going to take up all of our attention for the next 45 minutes until we figure it out and save the day.
Yeah,
and that is Star Trek.
Well, it's a meta version of it because they do all of the motions that they're supposed to.
Right.
Do the research, find the historical thing,
and none of it works.
Right, and it's like they've been tricked into following their pattern.
Yeah, there's that moment where Kira goes down to Pylon 1 or whatever it is.
Right, and it's gone
and
already.
It's blown up or whatever, and it's like almost exactly that moment from TNG. Where no one has gone before, where they find that crewman is behind the wall of fire. He has to put it out with his mind. Yeah, so
when Picard meets his grandma?
Yeah, Picard meets his grandma. Maman? That's his mom, or his grandma. I don't know.
Maybe it's his mom, I don't know. Just an old lady with tea.
Yeah. He becomes French for a second, like he's supposed to be. So yeah, I think this episode is weighed down a little bit by rehashing old plots. I think it's weighed down by being a little self-congratulatory on the part of the writers, being like, imagination is the greatest thing you could have. Because, like, that's what they are displaying by writing this episode.
The power was in you all along.
Yeah.
And it's the greatest power of humanity.
Yeah, I find that's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But I think narratively, structurally, character-wise, this episode's really strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan. And the flaws that like you're mentioning are ones where are totally fine within the fault tolerance of what happens when Star Trek does this kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. As a viewer, it's like, well, I would have preferred maybe they did this or this. But if you look at it as in-universe, in canon, this episode works.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing in it that conflicts or breaks or doesn't make sense as far as, like, why is the Amex sauce worth this much land? Like, there's nothing like that in this one. I feel like...
Oh, I figured out.
Can we start with the space mushroom rating? Because like I feel like now I want to talk about that because
this is why it's the kind of thing that I brought up because I feel like Discovery gets a lot of bullshit thrown at it for doing things that all of Star Trek does. Yeah. And space mushrooms is my way of sort of like gauging other instances of Star Trek that do things that I think can be fun, but on the surface are just patently crazy.
Space magic.
Yeah. This episode is a 10, if there's ever a 10. Because it's not just like Q, where it's like infinite. It's like, no, these are just magical beings who have come through the galaxy and literally made magical beings real for them.
Right.
You know?
This episode to me is like a 4.
Because you feel that it's all based in like...
No, because like
not mushroom stuff.
Because the only real space magic in it is accepting that there's these aliens who can reach into your mind and pull out a physical manifestation of that.
Create things.
But like in the realm of Star Trek, that's not that unusual.
Yes. Well, this is my point. is
Yeah,
that
totally.
the mushroom drive is also a 4 in the realm of on Star Trek.
See, the mushroom drive. So for me, when I'm thinking about space magic, what I'm thinking about is like
Q.
Something that is so nonsense that it doesn't jive with the rest of the universe that we've been presented. There's like 700 something episodes of Star Trek with no mention of the mycelial network or traveling through the mycelial network or that even existing whatsoever. And then it's shown in the newest iteration of the show that is a prequel to be the most powerful thing that's ever existed in the Star Trek universe.
I've made this point. Why are people not talking about Q every day?
Sure.
That would be. I couldn't imagine having one of my
like
headcanons.
Everything that happens, like, is it Q?
Have I told you my headcanon when people are like, why does Troy dress the way she does on TNG? My headcanon is that after Encounter at Farpoint, she meets this like space wizard who can do anything. There's no meaning to the universe if someone like this exists. And she's like, fuck it, I'm showing up to work in my pajamas now. Nothing matters.
Q to me is like a tornado. Like he strikes hard, but rarely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he exists.
Sure,
it's like a tornado. Listen, if tornadoes hit me as often as Q hits Star Trek, I would talk about tornadoes.
I'll tell you what, though,
every day.
If the mycelial network is the Q continuum, then the space mushroom rating of Discovery drops significantly. To me, it's just like. It's internal logic, internal consistency.
Yeah.
And nothing in this episode breaks internal logic or internal consistency. Sure, it's like out there and pretty crazy.
Right.
But like it doesn't feel like a leap of logic to me. It doesn't feel like you need to break your brain to understand it. It makes sense internally.
Because this one is just showing you, like Q, they do a bunch of things. So it's like, oh, he's infinite. He can literally do anything.
Right.
This shows you beings who have to be on the broader continuum of space magic because they are doing things with zero explanation. But we're only seeing a little sliver of it, so it's like easier to digest.
Yes.
But if you think about like these people these beings leave to continue to go explore imagination.
Yeah.
What is the rest of their afternoon? What's the rest of their year like?
All right. Well, maybe
it's out there doing like crazy
it's
space magic. Okay.
Because when you say like these people who are out there exploring imagination, it doesn't feel like the reason it doesn't feel like space magic to me is because it feels like writers congratulating themselves.
Sure.
So it feels less
They're
like
a plot convenience.
They are a plot convenience.
Yeah.
Yes. It feels less like...
Almost like a drive that could teleport you anywhere in the universe.
Yeah, but that's like the main fucking point of the whole season.
It's a plot convenience. This is another point I make about Discovery, is that if this was introduced in a single episode of TNG, nobody would freak out.
I agree. And I also think that if they had set Discovery after the events of DS9... I wouldn't have a problem with it at all.
Sure,
like, I really wouldn't. It's just like asking me to accept that this has existed the whole time.
It's like Spock never talking about Cybok. You just accept
Or
it.
his fucking sister, Michael Burnham.
Right.
You know?
I can't wait. I hope that they do another episode and they introduce another sibling for Spock. And everyone is like, seriously, dude, what the fuck? I talked to you about my family for 3 hours one day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like retconning. And Discovery just feels like a massive retcon to me.
See, and I'm fine with it because it's already an established part of Star Trek, retconning.
I mean, they do it from time to time, for sure.
Yeah, so
but like, they've never based an entire show on it.
Right, so they're basically like, you know what? Listen, we're already retconning.
Like,
how high does the retcon dial go?
Even Enterprise, which is a prequel series, went pretty far out of its way not to conflict with like the existing canon.
Yeah,
and
also
this show,
it only made
Discovery does not give two shits about existing canon.
I would agree with you to a degree. I think that they only care about broader aspects of canon. Like, they're not going to murder Kirk. You know, they're not. I
mean, they might, and then bring him back as a fucking clone or something.
Oh, that would be great. I would love that.
I mean, he did die in Into Darkness, and then Tribble Blood brought him back. So,
I would be happy if Q showed up in Discovery.
We're done.
But
show's over.
Maybe not Q, but what Discovery?
Like old John Delancey is Q. If they bring Q into Discovery, but they de-age John Delancey, I'm on board for
just a CGI, like where they do that with the movies,
or a Q that's not John Delancey. I'm into that too.
Okay, fine.
If they bring old John Delancey on as Q, I'm just gonna. I don't think I can take it. I don't think I can take it. I mean, bringing on Brent Spiner as like a what's the word? Like a
Android?
distant ancestor of Noonien Soong on Enterprise.
That was cool.
It like stretched my credulity.
Oh no, I love that. I thought that was perfect.
I thought they did a decent job, but it was a little bit too forced. It's like, we got Brent Spiner. Let's write something for Brent Spiner.
See, because my headcanon there is that the Noonien Soong is like one of the most egotistical, or like that.
Yeah.
You know, so that what I'm picturing is like that one dude we see in Enterprise, his descendants are just clones of him. You know what I mean? So, and then those clones go on to make androids that also look just like him.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah.
I buy that 100%. Yeah, I'd have to rewatch it. But I also was weird about the whole, like, the augment storyline in that one.
Yeah.
The augment virus. And it's just a lot. They're asking you to swallow a lot in that episode.
That's
or in that, like, 4-parter.
Star Trek is a giant pill out of the gate, you know?
Yeah, totally. But this one, I feel like, goes down relatively easy. Like, If Wishes Were Horses, for me, personally.
Yeah, see, I feel like we are in agreement, but that you're denying an aspect of reality.
I'm okay with that because I feel like you're denying how bad Discovery is. Hey, Dark Litton, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, I feel like I'm being a little hypocritical on my mushroom rating on this one, but
that's fair. You're allowed to.
That's just what it feels. That number feels right.
I came into this knowing that it was going to be a slow worm into your mind to get you to be like, you know what? I'm on board with Discovery now in this limited capacity.
I maintain the fact that
I already made more progress than I expected sooner than I expected.
I maintain the fact that I still dislike Discovery just as much as I ever did, if not more.
No, but wait till we finish all of Deep Space Nine, and then we go, at some point, we go Discovery Run.
Okay. I do want to do that. I'm actually, so we're almost at the end of Season 1 of Deep Space Nine. There's a part of me that wants to do Season 1 of Discovery after this.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe we'll talk to people about that.
No, I'd be
Hashtag Discovery is a trash fire, totally. What do you guys think in chat? Would you rather see Season 2 of Deep Space Nine right away, or would you rather see us do some Discovery? Because, like, we could get through Discovery in a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's only 13 episodes. And Season 2 is about to premiere, so we could also, like, do that.
I mean, I'm going to watch it either way. So.
Go, girl. Discovery's hot garbage. I know. It really is. It's terrible.
Okay. Amanda voted DS9.
Amanda voted DS9. Or maybe we'll do, like a special bonus. Maybe we'll try out Twitch or something for some Star Trek chat. Because YouTube's not sending out my notifications, and it makes me sad.
Oh, yeah.
I actually...
It's the Mirror Universe version of the show on Twitch where we talk about Discovery.
Yes! I love that. I actually did not get a I didn't get a notification that I went live, and I usually do on my phone, so... Yeah, YouTube is mad at me, I think. You got yours. Okay. Amanda, that's actually... You're the first person to say you got a notification. That's been all day. Yeah. Anyway, should we get into the rating?
Yeah. So you're giving it a... I talked you up to a 6 mushroom rating.
Mushroom rating.
I'm giving it an 8.
I'm going back down to... No, I'll leave it. It's fine.
You can go back. See, we don't track mushroom ratings.
Yeah, we don't track them, so it's fine. Okay, so here is your poll for the rating, everybody. 1 to 10 on the episode of Wishes Were Horses.
Yep.
Douglas Gale.
I'm giving it an 8.
You're giving it an 8. That is so high.
Because I think it's a fun episode, and I love batshit crazy Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's one thing that I really want to see in Discovery Season 2 or 3 is basically... I would love, like, if they do a full arc that explores the nature of infinite beings that can do whatever they want. You know, like these kinds of things. Like that one sad guy in TNG where they meet him and he's living on his tiny little acre of farm. He's like, "Oh, like, these people were dicks to me."
I can almost remember his name. Uxbridge?
That sounds right. But you know what I mean? Like, and he's got his wife there, and his wife is not
exactly
real. Okay,
what you mean.
And then they're like, "Well, why are you so sad, old space wizard?" And he's like, "Oh, because I wiped out all of these people."
Yeah.
Then fucking bring him back.
Yeah.
What is this?
the Dowd or something?
Yeah,
I'm a Dowd. Yeah. There are so many like omnipotent creatures. Yeah. But in this episode, like, we don't know enough about them. Like, and any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Space magic, yeah.
So for them to be able to like scan our thoughts and like put themselves into projections that can instantly transport all over the place, that's not too far away from what we've readily accepted as normal in Star Trek.
Oh, here's the thing. Do you think that they are creating manifestations? Oh, actually, never mind. I answered it myself. Because at one point, they show Odo chasing after the birds, and then the birds disappear, and then right away, the two hot ladies show up. So I was like, oh, these are them inhabiting things.
Yes.
Right. But then I realized, oh, what about the snow? They made it snow there.
There's a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
They're
all just tiny little snowflakes.
Or that's just one.
That's just one who's manifested.
And they're all
as
inside.
Okay, I'll take that.
He just like spread out his density.
I can take that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
think about the nature of these beings. Then they can they're like shapeshifters times 1,000,000.
Yeah, you're just trying to convince me that they're crazier than I think they are, so that I'll up my mushroom rating. But yeah, I mean, to me, the mushroom rating is a lot about breaking their own consistency.
Oh, to me, it's not. To me, it's like where on the Q continuum scale are they? From 0, which is like hard science fiction, to infinite, which is Q.
And I agree in principle that is true, but I think that because Star Trek is so all over the place that when I judge that, I take into account whether or not they're breaking their own internal logic.
Right. And my point of the scale is to show that Star Trek inherently
has no internal logic.
It's like a background level of just nonsense.
It's just background radiation is just garbage.
Kirk inventing time travel twice.
This yeah, I know, it's crazy. and literally talking computers into killing themselves like 2 or 3 times within like 5 episodes.
1 + 1 is 3.
Yeah, totally. So okay, rating for this episode. My feeling about this episode is very warm, and I really like it.
Yep.
But I question how well written it is because of the problems we've talked about with like rehashing old plots, with the whole thing of being about like self-congratulatory in the end. Like, imagination is so great. I love imagination. I'm all about it, but I feel like there's ways to say that are not just like hitting the viewer over the head with it.
Gotcha. Yep. See that. There's like structural flaws with it in that sense for you.
Yeah.
And contextual flaws of it.
Yeah, but it's so much fun, and I really like it. So I'm gonna give it like the same rating I gave The Storyteller, which is a 6.5.
6.5. Wow.
Just because I judge this show on whether or not it stands on its own 2 feet as a Star Trek show, and I feel like this episode,
because you still have like your personal definition of Star Trek that you're putting things through that filter,
and having seen all Star Trek and known what they've done over and over, I expect them to come up with something new. Yeah. And when they don't, I have to knock them a little bit for that.
Yeah, sure.
And also, like, just knowing when they made TNG how important it was to them to not stand on the shoulders of the original series. Right. But, like, that's... Deep Space Nine has spent at least half of its first season standing on the shoulders of other Star Trek. And we're about to get a Loxana Troy episode. We've already seen Vash, for God's sake, you know? Like, we've seen Picard, we've seen Q.
Right.
We've seen several plots that are just rehashes of things we've already seen.
Right.
So...
And then... eventually they bring in Worf.
Right, totally. You know? Yeah, and like when this show is great, it's when it focuses on like the wormhole and spirituality and the emissary of the prophets and like what stuff that's so unique and wonderful and stuff that like I get so excited about, and we haven't seen any of that.
It's why I think Discovery gets an unfair rap. I mean, Voyager. Sorry, I know Discovery is. That's why I think Voyager gets an unfair bad rap from some fans. Because Voyager really does like, oh, okay, we're going to break free. And we are more like TOS in its kind of weirdness.
Yeah.
And people are just like, people hate it.
Voyager says it's going to break free and then doesn't. That's why people hate it. Okay. Because it keeps saying, we're so different. And then the episodes like could have been Next Generation episodes. That's what frustrates me about that. Hey, what's up, Dark? Dark Litton says, I was never into Star Trek, but I was a bit into Star Wars. I love them both. I'm super into both. Yeah. Sluzinski, good to see you.
Sometimes I wear Star Wars shirts on the podcast. I mean,
finally didn't miss it because of the notifications not sending. So did you get a notification or not? We've been trying to figure this out all stream. My notifications did not work, and no, you did not get one. Okay, so we've only heard from one person that got notified, which really sucks on YouTube's part. And yeah, we talked about this a bit earlier, but I've been really, my schedule's been totally fucked because of my health recently, and YouTube is like not sending notifications to people anymore unless you've like clicked the bell and like turned on all notifications. It says like people aren't showing notifications at all, which is really frustrating.
Right.
So make sure you've clicked that bell, and then I feel like YouTube is trying to make me stream on Twitch, so I might be streaming on Twitch sometime this week.
The mirrored universe of the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should do that because I think Discovery premieres this week. Jaden says, "What's up, Jaden? Do Star Trek and Star Wars fans get along with one another?" That's a loaded question.
Well, the cool ones do. The jerks don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect answer. So
jerks don't get along with people in general.
Star Trek, to me, like you're like that guy was here earlier, you know? Yeah. Star Trek to me appeals to my intellectual side. Go Girl's a Twitch streamer. She says Twitch is better.
Ah, okay.
And Star Wars appeals to my spiritual side. So I really love them both. And I love them both almost as deeply and passionately as I love each of them.
Which is funny, we're watching the most spiritual Star Trek now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that about Deep Space Nine. That's a big part of what appeals to me about it. I do think that I'm a bigger Star Trek fan than Star Wars, in part because Star Trek has more good Star Trek than there is good Star Wars.
Well, because Star Wars is primarily a movie franchise.
Right. And there's 9 movies now, right? And 3 of them are terrible. So that's... I mean, 2/3 of them are good.
Right.
But you know what? I take that back because I think about 2/3 of Star Trek is good. Yeah. Maybe less.
Maybe less.
So no, I take that back.
And Star Trek there's so much of TV to watch. I think that is easy to infuse.
Right.
That's what I like about it, is the accessibility.
I'm pretty sure before Discovery there were 726 episodes of all Star Trek. I don't think that counts the animated series, which I've also watched. So I've put, you know, let's just say 700 hours into Star Trek.
Right.
But I've watched I've watched TNG 2 or 3 times all the way through. So then we're like, I've put in thousands of hours into Star Trek. Yeah. Let's be real. It's thousands of hours that I've put into this franchise. And I've put in, you know, a whole hell of a lot of time into Star Wars. I've read a lot of the expanded universe stuff. I've played a lot of games. There's a lot more peripheral materials in Star Wars that are worth consuming, whereas in Star Trek, for me, it's really just the main canon that's worth consuming.
I mean, I know people that really love the beta canon of Star Trek, and
like the books and stuff.
Yeah, and I believe there is a lot of good stuff out there, but I'm with you where I just haven't. You know.
I've tried to dive into it, and I've been like so turned off by the poor quality of what I've read.
Right.
I've like read a handful of books and I only liked one of them, and the rest were just either so boring or like super garbage or like portrayed characters in ways that were so unlike the character on the show that I just couldn't handle it. That's something that Star Wars has done a relatively good job of, is that the characters are pretty consistent across all of the media.
Right.
So it's a lot more fun to dive into the expanded universe stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, long story short, I love them both.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, I was made fun of for liking Star Trek by the Star Wars kids. So that's very real. Like, that's a thing that really happens.
Yeah, and I'm in some Star Trek groups where they shit all over people that like Star Wars.
Sure.
I'm in some Star Trek groups where they shit all over other people in Star Trek groups. It's just like...
Yeah, we've been shitting on Deep Space Nine for the last 2 hours. But we love it.
That one episode.
Yeah.
What I'm coming to realize is that fandom are like the Bajorans, where they're just prone to infighting.
Yeah. Do you watch Survivor?
The reality show?
Yeah.
I watched the first, like, however...
I'm like
5 or 6.
with that
I watched
show.
a bunch of them.
It got so good around like season 7, and I've been watching it nonstop since like season 7. And they started bringing players back, and like the strategy got really intense. They started bringing nerds onto the show.
Well, because like the awareness of the show existed, so now, like the early ones, you're watching people who have they're playing blind,
right? Totally.
And now you're watching the version of it where
like
it's like
intense strategy.
Yeah,
it's so good.
A show where originally it was like fake friendship was what was winning, and now everyone's like, oh right, that is part of it.
Right. Totally. Hey, what's up, Phil? Welcome. Yeah, I've realized recently that like Survivor is one of my main fandoms. Like, I'm now going back and rewatching Survivor with Andy, and I'm like, why? I'm loving it. You know, season 2, the Australian Outback, back when the show was kind of shitty, and I'm still just like so into it because I can see how the show's going to get better, and it's become so good. Actually, going on Survivor is something that I've always wanted to do. Like one of my goals is like to get my health to a place where I could audition for Survivor.
Nice.
Before my health flare-up started, like years ago, I actually went to an audition for Survivor, and it was at a casino nearby, and I waited for hours and didn't get in to be seen, and lost $50 on a Star Wars slot machine because peripheral materials for Star Wars are fun,
and that's why you like Star Trek more.
And that's why I like Star Trek more. Yeah, bringing it back. Okay, rating for this episode from the chat is 100% on 7.
Wow.
Both people who voted say 7. And that's right in between Doug and I, so that makes sense to me.
That's decent, yeah.
Okay, now we need to vote on favorite character in this episode, and this is actually a really tough one because it's really good character stuff.
Everybody is in here.
So we got to go Bashir, Dax, real Dax, Cisco, Kira, Odo, Quark. I feel like Jake was barely in this. We can maybe leave him off. Do we want to include for favorite character any of the aliens, like Buck Bukai?
Sure, Buck Bukai.
Rumpelstiltskin,
and then
fake Jadzia.
Julian's Jadzia.
Yeah. Is that a good list? Anyone you guys want to nominate for favorite character?
That's a comprehensive list.
Yeah.
Let's just post it, and then if they nominate one, I'll math it up.
Great. We'll math it up.
Yeah. Because then that's someone
math it up, math it up, math it up.
They look at the list, and then they'll offer their voice vote.
Okay, there is your poll, my friends, for favorite character in this episode.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I actually haven't come to a conclusion on this yet.
I have.
Hit me.
Because I had thought about it, and at first, I was going to vote Buck Bukai.
Oh.
Because Buck Bukai is an interesting character. A lot of times in Star Trek, when they do have these kind of fictional things, they'll suddenly reach to the past. It's Leonardo da Vinci, you know, it's Amelia Earhart, it's like it's Lincoln, it's Kalis.
That's such a good point. I mean? Like, well, Kalis, but I mean,
Kalis,
like, they went back to something that is in our future, but still passed to them.
That doesn't exist for us.
That doesn't exist for us, so they could create something new, and I loved that. They don't do that enough.
And normally in Star Trek, when they do that, it's as the third thing in a list of 3. They're like, this is the worst thing since a real thing,
so true.
Another real thing, and then the blip blorp from third blip blorp.
That's so true.
So that was my first thought, is like, oh, and they make it, he's an Asian American. Like, there's another layer on there where it's an intentional,
and
like,
he's from London.
Well, he plays for the London Kings. He may be from London. Let's not speculate about the...
Sure. It doesn't sound like it's...
I'm just being a jerk. He has an American accent.
No, you're right. Yeah, he has an American accent. I actually really liked that.
There's a
interesting
depth
choice
there
that I really liked.
I think is intentional on their part.
Yeah.
That is just there, though. It's for you to acknowledge it and feel it.
Sure, but that's like the surface presentation of that character. When you dive into that character, is it your favorite character?
No.
Exactly.
And the reason is that there's a better version in the same episode that I think accomplishes similar things.
I agree 100%. It's the imagination speech that kind of brings that character back down to being like a written character instead of just like a great character.
Right.
Like I can see the writing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So for me, my favorite character is Julian's Jadzia.
Julian's Jadzia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that character does so much to illustrate and highlight an existing character in the show. Her existence solidifies things we've been talking about with Julian, shows that the show is aware of that, and then can begin growth for him.
That's a great answer.
It's a light being shone in the dark, on the mind of Julian.
I love that answer. Hey, what's up, Italki? Good to see you, dude. That's really different than what I was thinking, but I really like that. You've helped me make up my mind, and I'm going with Chief O'Brien because I love Chief O'Brien in Next Generation, but he changes immediately when he gets on Deep Space Nine. He becomes like much more ornery. We talked about this last time, but
he really leans into everyman, which includes being an ornery blue-collar worker.
Exactly. So something about him reading to his daughter so sweetly is wonderful. Something about him showing such affection for his wife when he's normally just like complaining about her was wonderful. And then the fact that like his great fear is losing his daughter, as manifested through Rumpelstiltskin being able to feel his fear.
Yeah, that's true.
Is really powerful. Oh, but shit, there's a moment that kind of ruins this. When Rumpelstiltskin says, "Will you make the deal? Give me your daughter and I'll save you all."
He thinks about it.
He thinks about it. He like can't answer, and then Sisko's the one who tells him that you don't have to do that because none of this is real.
Well, okay.
Shit.
Well, no, because that's like he's a Starfleet officer, and it is like,
and he's weighing the life of his child against like
the entire
planet of Bajor.
No, not just Bajor. The system,
the whole system,
all 14 planets.
So I guess I can't fault him for
that poor old farmer who just he's like, I'm staying, and they're like, okay, fine, stay. The very next day, a tear in space time kills the entire system.
Yeah,
this is why I think.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sticking with O'Brien. I like that. Okay.
I don't know why people in the Star Trek universe aren't just filled with existential dread every day.
So we have a tie between Sisko and Rumpelstiltskin. So
that's Rumpelstiltskin.
Sisko Stiltskin?
Rumpelstiltskin? Rumpelsiskone? Sisko
Benjel.
Benjel.
Benjel Stilsko.
Rumpelstiltsko? Oh, what did you say? Benjo Stiltsko.
Benjel Stilsko.
That's good. Yep.
I'm feeling very solid about Benjo's.
I like it.
Benjel Stilsko.
Benjel Stilsko.
Last week we had Mulian O'Shear, which made me really happy.
But all of these could be names on Star Trek.
Cisco Stiltskin. That's good too. I'm putting my foot down on Benjel Stilsko because I'm very proud of it. Also, I've playing Stardew Valley and all my characters are being named after the characters we're talking about on Deep Space Nine, and I need to buy more rabbits right now, and I've just been waiting for character names, and I'm definitely gonna buy a rabbit named Mullibok.
Nice.
For sure.
Nice. That'll never leave the farm.
Yeah, but that's really all I get from these 2 episodes as far as good character names.
Yeah.
I could do a Buck Bukai.
Buck Bukai, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I like that a lot. But that's about it. But that's 2. That's good. I can buy some more rabbits. That's nice. Okay, and now we're going to vote on Best Performance.
Best Performance.
And I think my answer is going to surprise people. Okay.
But it's the same thing.
Who was on the last one? We had Bashir, Odo,
Cisco,
Buck Bukai. Which I think is a good one for this.
Quark.
Sure.
We didn't really talk about Quark's sexual fantasies, which is probably a good thing for the stream.
We did a little bit.
A little bit, but that's there, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it anymore. But I did read that the actor was really into it, which is like...
Oh, could you... I mean, they were very attractive women that were paid to pretend to be sexually attracted to him.
And his quote was relatively harmless. He's just like, yeah, I mean, they had me...
This is right
had
at the
these
edge
women on my arm, and it was a great shooting
Quark
day.
Quark is a difficult character because... he's gross and he's kind of evil and amoral,
and also kind of likable.
But so this is within the safety range, where other times they make him like, oh, that's actually sexual coercion.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, who else?
Jadzia.
Oh yeah, Jadzia.
And then Julian's Jadzia.
Well, same actress, so...
Oh, so if you like one, you could like both,
yes.
kind of thing? Yeah.
Best performance is just for the actress, so Jadzia I'm just going to put in there. Who else? I feel like Jake is barely in this.
Yeah, Kira's not really...
Kira doesn't have much to do. Oh, I didn't put O'Brien.
Oh, yeah, O'Brien. Rumpelstiltskin.
Yes, Rumpelstiltskin. That's a good one. I think that's good. Okay.
Then we can do voice vote.
Anybody else? No, okay. Big question, though. Who played Rumpelstiltskin better? This guy or the guy from Once Upon a Time?
I didn't see Once Upon a Time.
Okay, never mind.
Is that a TV show? That's I haven't watched it.
It's a ridiculous show.
Okay.
That I watched a lot.
I'm interested.
I watched a lot of it. It was really, really fun for a long time, and it just got terrible. I just had to bail. Okay, best performance. What do you think?
I'm torn, so I don't have. I'm still debating. Do you have one? You said
I do have one.
Then you go first. So
I do have one. It's the person that I've been bagging on for his bizarre performances all season. It is Julian Bashir.
Wow,
it is Alexander Siddig.
Wow, okay.
Because his scene where he's trying to figure out why Jadzia is coming on to him and then scanning himself, fumbling, it's just so well acted. It's so well performed. His discomfort, his character's self-realization that maybe he's being a bit of a sexist pig.
Right, yeah.
You can see it on the actor's face.
Yep.
And it's just such a breath of fresh air because I'm just so sick of this character being so horrible. So finally having something that's a reasonable development for the character feels really good. And it was just performed so well. Yeah. I really, really like it. So he gets my vote for best performance in this episode.
All right, that's a good one. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. My first thought was Jadzia. Terry Farrell.
Oh, I put that on yours.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because, you always make me go first.
Yeah, I fucked everything up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because I did obviously, I like the Julian Jadzia character, and, she does a good job as Dax in general in this one. Mm-hmm. So, but I there's something about it that's not quite enough.
Yeah.
And doing 2 different characters, though, is obviously fraught with difficulties in Star Trek. Because as we've seen before, Julian, when he has to ham it up...
Rayo Ventica. That's what you get.
Yeah.
I can't get that image out of my mind of him saying that in the worst way imaginable.
And then that was one where you read it and you're like, yeah, we thought he made some interesting choices there.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So, but I feel like in some ways the Jadzia's, Julian's Jadzia was almost that was yours to lose. That's too easy in a way. Not too easy, but you shouldn't get kudos for doing kind of a real two-dimensional, intentionally two-dimensional performance.
It's the standard, like, man writing a woman being sexy.
Yeah.
You've seen it a million times. There's nothing like...
So I like it in service of the story, but her performance of it is like, well, yeah, I mean,
nothing
that's
out of the ordinary about it, yeah.
So it's a tough call for me, but I am going to go with the dude that played Rumpelstiltskin.
Nice.
Because I do think...
Name I gotta check.
I do think that was an interesting... It's an interesting character, and... I can see why people
Michael John Anderson.
Okay.
He's got 3 first names.
Michael John Anderson, yeah. And this is a tough... I think this is a tough kind of thing in general. You know, people are going to be like, oh my god, it's Rumpelstiltskin, so it's going to be an eye-rolly thing.
I'm so glad when there's a tie in chat. So there's a tie for best... Sorry, you want to finish your thought?
No, I like this better.
There's a tie between Bashir and Rumpelstiltskin, so... Jumple...
Bashskin.
I think that's pretty good. Jumple... Bashskin. Bashskin is horrible. Yeah, I can't think of anything else, though.
Yeah.
Jumple Bashskin. I think that's the best we're going to get.
That sounds like a Star Wars name.
Jumple Bashskin? Yeah. Yeah, so we got a tie.
Yeah, so it's kind of like... I often will give credit to Star Trek actors that have to sort of transcend kind of hokey material.
Yeah.
And Rumpelstiltskin in Space Magic is kind of hokey material, so...
Yes, that's so true. And he did I think he did as good of a job as anyone could have done.
Yeah.
You know? With making something, like, kind of stupid.
Kind of stupid and kind of hacky, and that's the other thing is that, you know...
Yeah.
Little people aren't given a wide range of roles, especially in genre fiction.
And he's like, oh god, I'm playing Rumpelstiltskin.
Right, so this, you could...
At least I'm not playing a goddamn leprechaun, right?
Right. It's like he's one notch above it being just a racially offensive thing. So to take that kind of material and still, I think, do a very good job with it.
Although Rumpelstiltskin, I don't think is always portrayed as a little person.
Yeah, I think you can make a choice.
I think that was a choice on the part of the producers, and I wonder if maybe just because they knew and liked this actor.
Right, they already had him in their mind for.
And you know, he's great. He's like a pretty well-known actor. He's done a lot of really high-profile stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it's always Carnival when I think of him.
Yeah.
Because that show was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
That's one I'd love to rewatch. Yeah, I think he's very deserving of a Best Performance medallion for this episode. Yeah, man, we did it.
We did it.
We did it again.
Yeah!
We did it. We got through 2 more.
We Deep Space Nine did.
So next week we've got, let's see, The Forsaken and Dramatis Personae.
Right.
We're going to get some Loxana Troy, which...
Oh, Second Meme.
Oh, yes, thank you. I keep forgetting those.
It reminded me, because Loxana, I referenced her in this one.
Oh, not that one. That one.
Yeah.
Loxana Troy, daughter of the 5th house, holder of the sacred chalice of reeks, heir to the holy rings of Beta Z. As a shapeshifter, you can give yourself as much space dong as you want, right? Oh wait, so that's her talking.
That's her talking, right. It's a thing.
Oh, wait, I'm gonna do my Loxana impression. That's a shapeshifter. I can't do it at all. That's a shapeshifter. No, that's just a news reporter.
That's a shapeshifter.
That's just a gangster from the 1920s. That's a shapeshifter. You can give yourself as much space dong as you want, right?
Because we haven't watched the Loxana
I know we haven't watched it. So what did...
We're looking at 5 or 6 centimeters down here.
Which was the amount of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's that one person who spread themselves out into a lot of snow. Yes. And then there was a link in the description for our Instagram with all of Doug's memes.
Tasty Star Trek
Good
memes.
shit. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We've done it. That's another episode.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, we'll have to talk. I might have a scheduling issue with work. So
Great. I will announce in the Discord. Who knows? Maybe we'll try Twitch. I don't know. I keep threatening to do that. I might be. I don't know. If I can get my momentum back with YouTube, maybe we'll be here.
Right.
I'm hoping to stream a bunch more between now and then. But like, part of me feels like if YouTube's gonna not show my notifications if I lose my consistency, then maybe I should just be on Twitch. You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep threatening that, but I love it here. I don't want to move. But I might, anyway.
Have a Discord vote. No. Jesse apparently doesn't believe in democracy.
I've realized that, like, for big important decisions...
You have to choose.
I have to choose, because oftentimes the only people who vote are the really engaged people who will be there either way.
Oh,
it's like the audience at large, or like the lurkers who aren't going to vote, who are the people that I need to really, you know...
Bye, Amanda!
Bye, Amanda. So good to see you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. Phil, Amanda, Go Girl, Italki, Jaden, Slazinski. You guys rock. We will see you next time. Ba 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 ba. Bum ba ba bum. Ba 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 bum. Bum ba ba bum bum ba bum. Bye, Matt. Bum ba ba ba. Bye, Italki. Bum ba ba bum.
Bye.
That is the end of the stream. Those lyrics did not fit. Yamak sauce.